The Brewtally Speaking podcast is proudly sponsored by Starving Artist Brewing. Starving Artist Brewing may be a small speck on Michigan's beer map, but they say big things come in small packages. A brewery who really puts their money where their mouth is, supporting underground artists far and wide. Making delicious beers with the simple belief that you should judge beer, not people. Brewtally Speaking podcast is proudly sponsored by Rockabilia.com. For over 30 years, Rockabilia has been the go-to destination for all things band merch. With over 500,000 items in their online store and collaborations with today's hottest bands, you're sure to find something you love. Use our code BREW10 at checkout and take 10% off your total order. So go pick up your favorite new piece of merch now over at Rockabilia.com. And now, on to the show.
Say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing. This rings true because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, and if you're not having fun doing it, you're gonna give up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Brewtally Speaking podcast. I am your host, John, and this episode's guests are Mitch and Jordan from Better Lovers, formerly of Every Time I Die. This has been a long time coming, and I've recorded this intro probably 7 or 8 times at this point, and I never really felt like I could kind of get the tone and everything to be the way I wanted it to be. Until this last time when I kind of felt like I stumbled across what I really wanted to say. So for those who probably know me, know that Every Time I Die is one of my favorite bands ever. I've seen them probably 40-ish times over the span of me going to see them over a couple of decades. I have seen them with my best friends, with my wife. I have gone to Buffalo a couple of times and made a lot of great memories with people that I have met in online forums. And it's just a thing where when I think about my adult life, I have so many memories, core memories, as you would probably call them, associated with the men in that band. The other part that's hard to not bring up when doing this show is putting such a large emphasis on that this band is literally the reason that this show started. And what I mean by that is when I used to watch YouTube videos and interviews and so forth of the guys in this band, I would get mad at some of the interviewers for wasting the opportunity that I felt that they were given to not ask better questions. When you get an opportunity to ask a band and talk to them, I feel like you should come up with something better than, how's the tour? And I just kept seeing that. Or I would see questions be asked that had already been answered a million times. Now, I'm not going to say that this interview or this conversation is life-changing or life-altering or anything like that. I'll get to that probably in the outro. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But the other thing that's interesting is in this reflective time of the podcast and how this band is so entwined in me starting this show, it's also interesting as I looked at a calendar, I really wasn't aware of this until I just kind of looked down to kind of see what today is and when I'm dropping the episode and kind of getting things lined up and ready for this episode to drop this week, that I just passed the 8-year anniversary mark of starting the show. If memory serves, the first episode dropped November 16th. So it's a thing where I'm recording it now on November 28th. So it's crazy to think that basically this show has been going on as long as my marriage. And only succeeds it by like a month. So many things when thinking kind of now about how long the show's been around, how long I've been doing it, all the things associated with hitting these milestones of, 8 years, or the first episode dropped on this day, however long ago, hitting 400 episodes. Now I'm thinking about episode 500 and so forth, that it becomes this thing where I've really been in a reflective mood. And it's crazy to think about how, like I said, it started out of, I will say, like an anger, like a disdain for the people who wasted their opportunities, in my opinion. But the other side of it too was when I started this show, I had put in goals for myself as far as, downloads and guests I wanted to get. And I remember my 5-year goal was to get someone from this band on. And I had gotten to talk to Andy when he had just started his professional wrestling career, probably like 5-6 months in. And it was crazy to be like, I just hit like a goal I set for myself 5 years out. And again, it revolves around these guys. It's a little bit interesting leading up to this conversation to be so steeped in nostalgia and that it finally happened. And something that I kind of have been thinking about since it happened and now, doing this intro is just honestly thinking about chasing your passions. Finding, again, I've talked about this before, but finding your why. And it still amazes me that, almost being 40, like I just celebrated a birthday like a month and a half ago, but almost now being on the precipice of 40, thinking about my life, my marriage, anniversary is coming up, the anniversary of the podcast, all of these things. And it's crazy to think that these guys have been a source of inspiration to do things unapologetically, be yourself unapologetically, and to also have fun and never lose sight of that. And I think that as I've been thinking more and listening more to the Better Lovers stuff and seeing firsthand through everyone's social media posts that I feel like these guys, not that they had lost their why, but I feel like you can see that they had found it again. They are just constantly smiling when you see them performing, like in all the photos. Like, it's serious, but it looks like they're having more fun than I've seen them having in a long time. And it's contagious. But it's also inspiring to see a band to see people, I should say, that have been doing this for so fucking long, still be able to start something anew, still be able to find the thing that makes them happy, the thing that they were created to do, that makes them unique. And to me, getting to talk to two people who have been that source for me, been a part of that source for me, was huge. So, real quick, Jordan had some technical issues, as you'll probably hear. He ended up hopping off. When I do these shows, when I do these chats, basically once the thing's going, like when I hit record, I put the thing where I can see both myself and as you see it, as it looks on YouTube, in full screen. So when Jordan ended up leaving and trying to come back, I didn't see it because I was kind of focused on what I was supposed to be doing at that point, which is having a conversation. So I apologize to Jordan for sitting around for probably 20, 25 minutes waiting for me to let him back into the conversation. But all that said, it was really great getting to talk to both Mitch and Jordan for their willingness to both come on such short notice and to bullshit and give so much of their time, as also is willing to answer some questions that maybe are a little bit harder to answer. But I'm very appreciative. And without further ado, this is my conversation with Jordan and Mitch. I'll talk to you all on the other side of it.
That so like I don't have a mic here, so like I'm not like a fancy I don't do too many of these, so can you hear me right?
I can hear you just fine, and I have had way worse people with just so much background noise and shit, so it doesn't matter.
Is this video too?
It can be. If you don't want it to be, I just can keep it for myself.
I mean, if people, I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable by seeing such a luxurious interior of a vehicle like the 2022 Jeep Compass. I mean, if your listeners are cool with it, then I guess I am too.
I will say that Brian from Shad's Fall did his entirely in his car from the practice that they were doing before their reunion show like a year or so ago. So you were in good company.
Yeah, yeah. I usually pace when I do these, and so sitting down is going to be weird. Maybe I'll just drive in circles.
If I can offer any advice for that, grab something that doesn't make noise that you can play with, because I do the same thing.
Oh, right on. All right.
And Mitch looks like he's just totally fine sitting there and not making any noise or having to move at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, baby.
Anyway, so the deviated septum though, that's what it's from.
So I got surgery on that in 2015, and I was doing okay, and I guess it just didn't take because now it just kind of like only gave me relief for like 2 years, and then I started going back to get this done like pre-quarantine, and it just like it was just doctor appointment. It's like, okay, we need to see the doctor. Then you need to go get a fucking x-ray. Then you need to go back to the doctor. Then they need to test you for allergies. Then they need to go back. And it got like so just monotonous and repetitious. Then quarantine hit. And I was just like, I just put it on the back burner. So now I go back and they're like, okay, well, your scans from 2 years ago are too old to use. So you have to do it again. So I'm basically like starting all over again. And now technically it's not a deviated septum. Now it's these things in my face that start with a T, and I keep forgetting what the name is, but they're swollen and they're kind of like allergy related, and they're like muscles in your face that mine are just a little swollen. And so now I have to, should I so choose?
Say, getting old is fucking
I'm going to
fun.
go get those things. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if it's that or if it's, let's just blame it on that, I guess.
Well, because you guys are both, I think, a few years older than me. I just turned 39. I think you guys are like 40, mid-40s, I think. Like a handful of years older than me.
I turned 42 tomorrow.
Okay, well, happy pre-birthday.
Thank you. That's right, baby.
Yeah, nice. Baby.
Yeah.
Straight to
I'll be 45 next month.
Okay.
Mid-40s.
So everyone tells me that next year my body is just going to go to shit when I hit 40. And I'm like, I don't know if it works like that, but all right.
Unfortunately, it works more like that than it doesn't work like that. It's a little too spot on. Like, oh, you just have to work harder to be normal, which sucks. It's like you have to wait. I have to like work to not be in pain all the time. It's you take it for granted when you're young, and it'll smack you in the face. Get ready.
Yeah, the maintenance is definitely more high. You know what I mean? As far as like, your metabolism just slows down. So it's like you gotta watch what you eat. You gotta stay active. Like if you don't move, shit starts, breaking down. You're sore, so you're just kind of listening to your body and just kind of, taking the steps necessary to keep moving.
Yeah, it makes you appreciate it more though, like, oh, this is great. My fucking, like when we started going back on tour over the summer, I had like really weird feet issues. And so I was just like, I've never had feet issues in my life, like ankle feet, like what the fuck is going on? And then you get the new shoes and you get you're stretching right and you're getting the vitamins. And next thing you know, you're like happy because your feet don't hurt. So it's like, there's pros and cons. And I think the pros are that littler things make you happy. You know what I mean? Like when I was 26 years old, I was never happy because my feet didn't hurt. But you could catch me today and be like, yes, I can bend my ankles, or rotate them properly.
Dude, I got really stoked. My wife and I have new doors coming in. Like, we think they'll be here this week, and we'll be able to set an appointment to get them installed. And I was like, I never thought I'd be very fucking stoked about getting new doors, the keyless entry locks that you get and stuff like that. And I was like, but here I am. And I'm like, I can't fucking wait for these things.
Yeah, text in the group. Check out these new doors. What's up?
Yeah, dude, it's kind of funny. So, I did a little bit of, so just talking about like how we even got here for like this chat. So, I think you might have been trying to like hit me up for a minute because I went back in like some DMs and some Instagram stuff.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. And I was trying to think back. I'm like, you know what? I think I've definitely seen you around before. Like for sure at some like the Buffalo, like the holiday shows that we were doing. Dude, were you at like I swear to God, I think I remember seeing you at like a Portland show we played. Were you ever in Portland?
I have been to Portland. I don't think I saw you guys. I know I've seen you guys, obviously here in Michigan, because that's where I'm from, Grand Rapids. So all the times in Grand Rapids. And then you and I, Mitch, ended up talking because I think it was Koa ended up saying somehow we realized that we both knew Josh Woods. And and Josh is like the friend. So like once we kind of realized that there are, and then obviously Chae, Hawk, he and I have been longtime friends too. So it's like once it kind of became known, and Patrick, that it was like there were people beyond kind of just like, I hate to say it like this, like you're a fan. Yes, I am. Oh, but you also know these people that we know and have known for a very long time too. Okay, like that was kind of, I think, maybe more of your recollection of me was the pink and just watching, I think, the Sabres. Actually, it wasn't the Sabres. I don't think it was a Buffalo team. It was a Monday night game, I think. Okay. And I think we both had money on the game.
I think I'm just totally off on the Portland thing then. But yeah, you know, Jordan said the group chat thing is just, I think when you like tweeted at both of us, and it's just funny. Like, you know, I asked you like, hey, do you usually have two guests on at the same time? And it's just funny, like just seeing Jordan here. Like, I just thought about group chats. Like, let me ask you this. Like, dude, I'm in so many fucking group chats.
No.
Like, just with Jordan alone. So, like, it's just funny. To me, it's just awesome that Jordan's here because the amount of correspondence I have with Jordan during the day is like fucking unhealthy crazy. We're in a band group chat, right? Just the five of us. So there's the band group chat. Then there's the band group chat with like the management.
Okay.
Then then Jordan and I are in another group chat with like, so we own this house together. I'm actually here right now doing this. So we're in another group chat like for the house. Like, dude, I'm in and then like I'm in so much correspondence with Jordan during the day. Like, dude, my group chats are fucking crazy. Like,
and then we kind of have like a Better Lovers one that's just me, you, and Will about like music, like about riffs. So there's the subcategory, the sub chat of like there's Better Lovers with management, Better Lovers without management, then Better Lovers like just the riff section. It's and then we actually still take each other one-on-one too. So
dude, and that's just Jordan. Like, dude, I'm in fucking like gambling group chats.
Gamblers Anonymous.
I'm not even fucking kidding. There's days where I'm at like 900 to 1,000 texts a day. Like if you count like the what do they call the emoticons?
Yeah.
It's like Apple counts that as a text because exclamation points count. Like, dude, I'm at fucking like 900 texts a day sometimes.
No.
Like it becomes like if I don't get a text in like an hour, I feel like something's wrong. Like, wait a minute, what? Like no one's texting. Like,
I would cut friends out of my life if I couldn't respond to 900 texts a day. Someone's not making the cut. Someone's on thin ice.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like a pandemic casualty, like a COVID thing. Like, dude, it gets so bad. Like, and you know, then I'm in like I have Sabres season tickets, so I'm in like a Sabres group chat. Dude, I'll fucking make plans with one person in the 8-person group chat, like in the group chat.
No.
Like it's crazy. So one of my childhood friends, one of my best friends growing up, Bill Gallagher, he literally lives across the street from me. We're in the Sabres group thread. If I have that game with him that night, I literally text him in the group thread, "Hey man, you ready? Walk outside." Yeah. And like, dude, 9 other people are just reading this. Like, I mean, am I the only one? Like, maybe that's crazy. Like, rarely am I doing individual texts anymore. I straight up make plans in group chats. It's
I saw my way out of
Jordan. Oh, there he is.
Like he's
It's
getting
like-
a phone call.
Yeah, I got it. Sorry. Yeah, I had to. I've exited large group chats before because I was just like, this is taking up too much of my life. Well, I'll see you guys individually, but I can't
IRL.
do the fucking yeah. And then like if you're on tour, and it's like, dude, I like Steve was saying, like, wait a minute, I have like 200 texts about where they're going to lunch. Like, I'm in fucking Minnesota. I don't give a fuck. Get me out of here.
It's crazy. And like, I'll think about, so Greg, our singer, so he kind of bounces around. He spends a lot of time in Pittsburgh now, but he's still kind of based in LA, I think. Dude, I think about him often because there's times where it's like 10 a.m., like Eastern time. And I'm at like 100 texts in the group thread. Like that dude, by the time he wakes up, my anxiety would be through the fucking roof. There's probably like hundreds and hundreds of texts when that guy wakes up like every day.
Yeah, and he sleeps late.
We're just out on the West Coast, and I almost kind of like start to be like, dude, this time difference stinks because like I'll wake up at 9 and I'm already seeing my anxiety goes through the fucking roof. Like I'll see 40 texts, I'll be like, dude, I just opened my eyes.
A bar I used to work at here, we had the bar group text, and I fucking loathe group texts because for that reason alone, I don't like notifications on my phone. I like to have the tasks be done and everything clean. And
look at you.
I think one of my first shifts, all of a sudden when I still had Snapchat, they added me to a Snapchat group thread. And within 30 seconds of me getting added to it, I left it. And they all looked at me and they're like, did you seriously just leave? I go, fuck that. We're already in a group text. Whatever you need to say to me, good enough. I don't need to have different forms of interacting with you all. That's stupid. I would only do that for my wife. And even that's kind of a bit much, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like you'll get stuck talking to someone like over DMs and you'll just be like, wait a minute, why are we doing this here now? Like it's like almost like you had a conversation and you just took the conversation to a different room.
I did that to Bagel the other day.
Texting now.
Bagel and I's communication for the longest time has been Instagram DM. And then finally I was like, dude, we've been DMing each other for like so many years. Fuck this. Let's be adults. Here's my phone number. Just let's start texting. I don't need to DM you.
Yeah. Upgrade.
That's crazy. You bring up Bagel. He just texted me today.
Should I text him a photo of this?
Yeah. I mean, listen, we're early in the chat here, so I don't want to go down like, I don't know. I don't think your listeners want to be bored with like Buffalo sports, but Bagel straight up texted me 2 hours ago, like, yo, how are you?
Dude, that game sucks.
How are you taking it? Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't want to go down that road just quite yet.
But they're making some choices to make hopefully right the thing.
Just some crazy stuff there. But anyway, I don't know. I'm happy to be here. I'm glad you reached out because I don't really do too many of these.
No.
And I kind of woke up feeling a little crappy, so I went to Walgreens right before this. I got some Dayquil that kind of powered through this, like the OG Dayquil.
Man, they got a new Dayquil.
Yeah, not
it's
the
got
wall.
Like no, they got a new Dayquil. I think it's Dayquil. Maybe it's Mucinex. That's more of like a menthol base to both the Dayquil and the NyQuil. That shit is premium and it's something you feel when you take it. You're just like, oh, this is doing something.
Yeah. See, so I got roped in by the honey gimmick. So this was like Dayquil honey.
Yeah. How is it?
I splurged. I got that straight to the dome. No measuring cup. Just boom.
No, that's a shot.
So I hit that hard, and then I got a Celsius and a Core. So shout out Dayquil, Celsius, and Core. So
just shout out your sponsor.
Yeah,
2 waters and a Miller Lite.
Nice, man. Smash that like button. Okay, yeah. Oh, you're hitting that pop. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Nice. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for asking us to do this.
No, absolutely. It's something, kind of I felt like I was cramming for a test because like I've been just thinking on how to, because I don't want to like ask questions for Jordan and then Mitch are just like, all right, well, fuck me, I guess. So I've really been kind of ruminating on like questions to ask both of you. There are things that I wanted to ask you individually. So I've been trying to rack up my way of how do I ask you both the same question in that space? Because there's something mainly kind of with psychedelics and therapy that I kind of want to get into with Jordan down the road if we get there. But
I only got 60 minutes left on my minute plan. So
okay.
No.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. Well, it doesn't count when I added you to my top 8. The minutes aren't free then.
We might have to move this to 9 p.m., dude. Nights
Oh, okay.
after 9.
Oh, okay.
No,
Well, no, I added
gotta-
you guys to my top 8, so now we're good for the month.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
Oh,
Yeah, I got a third grader to pick up in 2 hours. Other than that, we're fucking chilling.
No, okay. So actually, sort of kind of because obviously with the new song, thank you, Mitch, for sending it to me yesterday. That's dropping in 2 days or 3 days, actually, I think, when we're recording. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about Better Lovers because I'm also putting this right after the episode I did with Will. So I already did that.
Cool.
So this one's getting fast tracked to be kind of a Better Lovers 2-week thing. But
Is that crackling? Is that anybody hearing that?
Yeah, but I can go through and clean it up later. It's not a big deal.
Oh, okay, good. All right. I just didn't know if it was me or whatever.
It is you.
Is it?
Yeah,
really?
it is you. Yeah.
Fuck. All right. Well,
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, I can hold on. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
I guess we'll just pray that it gets better. Fuck.
I'll work on it. It's fine.
Maybe
You know what? Just like anything else, it's fucking free. And if someone wants to bitch about it, well, then fuck you.
Yeah.
It's free, and it didn't. Actually, that's the funny thing about this podcast. I watched too many things with people interviewing you guys collectively over the years, where they just be like, "How's the tour going?" And I'm like, "You motherfuckers! Like, you got this awesome opportunity, and that's what the bullshit you're asking. I can do better." And so I started this because of getting upset with interviews with you guys wasting your time, which I'm not doing much better than right now.
Well, you're obviously going to edit this, right? So let me just hang up and call back. Maybe it'll just naturally go away.
Okay.
Okay.
Unrelated, did you see that Van Der Esch apparently has a neck injury and is apparently in risk of not being able to play ever again from the Cowboys? Van Der Esch, the linebacker for the Cowboys.
You know, I'll get caught up around the league like late in the week, like on Friday-ish. I kind of just like early this, like Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm kind of like looking ahead at like betting lines and just kind of looking at numbers, you know?
Yeah.
Doing that. And then like, you know, I guess, well, injuries kind of bake into those numbers, but unless it's like someone that actually moves the needle, like a quarterback or like a, you know, or like a high profile receiver, I'm not like that tuned in, but I did not hear that. No.
Yeah, no, I was just looking at it because I was doing the same thing, looking at stuff that's gone on today. So saw obviously that the offensive coordinator is gone from the Bills. He got fired, which is good news. And I don't know. Hopefully McDermott either gets his shit. He's kind of running out of people he can hide behind at this point. I feel like anyway.
Yeah, the runway is you're almost out of room there. There's only too many scapegoats left before it's like, well, you've kind of you've ran a special teams guy out of town, you ran a defensive coordinator out of town, now you got a OC. It's just, look, man, it's like got to look in the mirror, you know, and take a hard look at like what's going on here, and just, I don't know. You can see body language from players. It just doesn't. It seems like he's just like lost the room there, you know.
I mean, look at the Raiders. They got rid of their shit. And I mean, not that they've really gone and just set the league on fire with the 2 wins that they had against the teams they had, but it seemed like just doing that and kind of cutting the head off the snake sort of improved the morale over there already. So
yeah, I mean,
know.
It's like, dude, those locker rooms can get toxic, you know, if, you know, a big thing in sports, especially with like head coaches, is accountability. You know, if you're not taking accountability for shit that's going on. I mean, there's been so many blunders by McDermott in this regime that it's just like, dude, how many more times can like you just not be prepared, like in game, just doing crazy shit, like losing big time opportunities, like just turtling in the moment where it's just like, dude, you got to take accountability here. Yeah,
it's odd. It's odd. I remember going to when we went to the first my wife and I's first did the season. We went to Bills Lions game, and I think it was not Stafford's. I think it was Allen's rookie year, and it was just like watching who wanted to be the worst team. Like neither team wanted to win that game. And it was just like, this is fucking awful. And it was crazy because like it kind of just like the environment, it's like it, and Patrick and I from Ice 9 have talked about this quite a bit. You know, Buffalo and Grand Rapids feel so similar, like as far as like the vibe of the city, just kind of the people in it and all that kind of stuff. But even I think like just how bad our teams typically are, especially football, like the Lions are notoriously awful. And even when shit goes right, it still goes wrong. And it seems like Buffalo's kind of always been that way. And it's kind of endeared me to both teams. And it seemed like it was like Buffalo kind of started turning it around, you know, got fucked in that AFC Championship game against Kansas City a couple years ago. And then it's like Lions are now kind of turning it around. And I'm like, oh, I was looking forward to like both teams being good and like maybe competing for playoff games or something. And then it's like, it just seems like now that one's kind of on the come up, it's like the other one's kind of going down. And it's like, man, motherfucker. Can't either of these teams be good at the same time just to be like not the destitute team of the NFL?
Yeah, man. I mean, dude, parity's big in sports, but like parity just didn't hit the Lions or the Bills for a very fucking long time. And like the Lions have had it bad, and the Bills definitely had it bad for a while. But
at least y'all made it to Super Bowls.
yeah,
4 in a row.
You know, yeah, there were those teams in the '90s were awesome. I mean, I was young, but I remember them vividly. You know, that was kind of when I just started getting into the NFL, and like we were just spoiled because you just, when you were young, you just thought the Bills went to the Super Bowl every year. Like they were so good, and you were so young, you just didn't know better. You know, like you just take it for granted, like how good those teams were. So it's like, oh yeah, well the Bills just go to the Super Bowl every year. Like,
well, it's probably how Patriots fans feel now.
Yeah, man, it's
no one remembers them sucking.
Yeah, dude, it's yeah, I mean, it's funny about like you saying like neither team wanted to win. I mean, that was just like the game last night. It's just the Bills are just so much better and so much more talented than Denver, but it's just so many gaffes and blunders and just missteps. It's just like, dude, they turned it over 4 times. Bills turned it over 4 times and still should have won the game. But just coaching at the end, it's just, I don't know, man. I can talk about this shit for fucking hours. It's just maddening. You know, it's crazy. I mean, I'm a big sports head. I'm a mark for sports. You know, it's a big part of the DNA. It's just woven into the culture here.
Well, that was the big bitch for me this year. Like being a Braves fan for almost 30 years now. Like everyone was like, and even like Lurk from Lamb Goat, him and I were kind of talking shit when Tampa Bay started off so hot. I was like, dude, it's a long fucking season. Doesn't matter if you started 20-0. Like you could just lose every game from there. And what did the 20-0 mean? Like nothing. And all year everyone's like, man, your Braves are going to like kill us this year and they're probably going to win it. And I'm like, man, I don't know. We weren't supposed to win the year. We did win. We lost our best player like pretty early on. Our GM pulled some shit out of his ass and like made a roster happen that just got hot at the right time and then won it. I didn't expect us to start being competitive until about a year or two, about like two ago, like to be competitive, not even to be able to win it. And we won one. And then it's like this year we fucking smoked everybody and lost in the fucking our first round to a team that, you know, then ended up losing to the Diamondbacks. And it's like baseball and sports are just, I mean, cliche as it is, any given Sunday, man. Like you don't know.
Yeah, week to week, man. You know, with the Bills, like their drought breaking year, like that wasn't even that. I mean, they like lucked into that. Like, that was McDermott's first year. They weren't a playoff caliber team. I mean, they had, you know, Tyrod was definitely a serviceable QB, but that team, you know, was nowhere near like ready to take like a championship run.
Yeah,
so they kind of like lucked into that, and then, you know, as a first year head coach, especially in Buffalo, like where people are just dying for like any sort of like relevance and success. It's like he just can. I mean, you just know that you bought yourself a lot of time. Like, and that, you know what I mean? Like you bought yourself easily 5-6 years. I mean, shit would have to go terribly wrong for like you to lose that job. And, you know, they got Allen and he defied all like advanced stats. I mean, he was not great in college. His accuracy was fucking terrible. And then I don't know, he just kind of just turned into a monster. You know, he always had that high ceiling, like freak talent, but 2020, 2021 Bills were just unstoppable. Like I mean, for the first time in my adult life, the Bills were, it was like, dude, fuck yes. Like, I've just been waiting for this for so long. Like, there was just so much good energy around the city. Like, the team was having fun. Like, you can just see it. You can see, like, in the interviews, you can see, you know, God, I hate saying fucking vibes. This is like what everyone says now. So, like, you know, but there was, you know, like, Diggs was having fun. Allen was having fun. Like, there was just energy in the city. Like, it just felt different, you know? And then, yeah, I was at that 13 seconds game. I traveled to Kansas City because I was like, you know, I was just like, we're going to Super Bowl this year, you know? And I remember being there, and I remember the KC fans around us were just literally shaking my hand. They were like leaving. They're like, dude, hope you guys go all the way. Congrats, your team's awesome. And then it was, dude, it was just one of the craziest. Dude, I've been to some shitty sporting. Like, I was there. I was at that.
Were you at the Jags one in the pool that they have there?
No, I was at that. This is going back a while, but the 05 Sabres were making like a really like kind of like epic Stanley Cup run. And I was at the Carolina Hurricanes Game 7 to go to the Stanley Cup. They lost that. I was there. So I've been at some like really bad games. And that game, I mean, it's just almost unbelievable. Like, how many bad losses can this team endure? Man, I was there, and it was just crazy. I just knew walking out of there being like, I don't know if they're ever going to recover from this. Like, it was just, you know, it wasn't one of those, oh, there's always next year. There's that window's always open. It's just like, dude, that was like this generation's wide right. Like, for a Bills fan, I don't know. It would be hard. It's still hard to convince me that, like, if they won that game, there's no way they would have lost to Cincinnati for an AFC championship game. The Bills would have hosted it. And then the Rams were beatable that year. I think the Bills were there was just magic around that team that year. And I don't know. It's so hard to get there. There's so much luck involved. Injuries. Well, I mean, you know, it's like there's so much that goes into a championship run in sports. And I don't know. They were healthy. I don't know. And they lost it because of coaching. And if I'm a player, you know, and McDermott took no accountability after that. And if I'm a player, that would just sit, you know, I'd be sour over that. And nothing's really changed. They've gone backwards ever since. So it's just, I get it, man. That locker room's probably toxic as fuck. I think McDermott's message has gone stale. He's lost the room. You know, he's out of answers. The press conferences are awful. It's just the same bullshit. So it's too bad because, you know, Allen's, again, he's just a freak. He's like a once in a generation talent, and they're just handcuffing him over there. You know, they're doing shit to him where if he was like 35, 36, like older, I'd be like, okay, yeah, make him a pocket passer, tell him not to run. It's just like, dude, this is why the Bills were having, he's just going off. Just letting him do what he does. Let him run. Fuck it. The guy's 240 pounds. He's like bigger than linebackers. Like, all the stuff that was like making them good and successful in the regular season, it's like, you got to keep riding that. It's like, why are you handcuffing the guy? Why are you putting a governor on him? Like, let the guy go. And man, it's a shame to see. It's just, you're wasting prime years, prime talent. You know, Allen and Diggs, that's like a, you know, once in a, you know, you don't get that many opportunities to get like that good a talent there, and like, you're just fucking ruining it. So, you know, it sucks. It sucks to see. You know, like I said, I'm a true blue diehard Buffalo sports fan, but man, sometimes it's really rough around here.
Well, I think like the two teams that like are my ride or dies, and it's kind of interesting because like, you know, sort of speaking to correlating like bands and music and all that kind of stuff. I just like sports for the most part. The Braves are the only team that like I said, I've been a fan of since like I was a kid, like right before they won their first World Series because of Deion Sanders. I just thought he was cool, played for both the Falcons and the Braves. So I was like, that's cool. Like, that's my team. That's my guy. And then he left and didn't play baseball, but I stuck with the Braves. And then Michigan football, like college football, is the only other team that is like my team. I don't fucking root for anybody else. And everything else is just kind of by a proximity, because initially I'm from the East Coast. So it's like growing up, it was, growing up in Delaware, it's like, okay, I had the Eagles, the Redskins, sort of the Giants and the Jets and Bills. But moving out here, it was just kind of wild to be like, all right, like now there's these other teams and they're all pretty much garbage and, and had been. So it's like I'd never really had seen winning sports with all the other teams, but it just is fun to watch. I mean, I still get chills watching that walk-off TD that Diggs had when he played for Minnesota, that playoff game. Like just that boom of like that pop that they have of like when they realized he caught it and then he's going to score a touchdown. It's like, you put that shit in my fucking veins. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm a fan of a team or not. Like, how can you not be excited when you see shit like that happen? Like, and to have people just like, sports balls. I'm like, man, fuck you. How do you not feel something when you see that? Like, it's just incredible.
Yeah, man, I think you're right. You brought up Dion. Like, I loved him as a kid, and Bo Jackson. Like, just those two, dude. Fuck. I mean, just think about, they both played two sports. Like, they were playing baseball and then just like starting a football season like late, like no conditioning, no training camp, just showing up and just killing, like just wrecking shit. Like, Bo Jackson was just. I had so many Bo Jackson posters, and so like I had his shirts, like his jersey, like I had a Raiders helmet. Like, I fucking loved Bo Jackson. Like, one of the only books I read was like Bo Jackson.
Oh, knows.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And like, but like, just going back to like, just, the showboating or whatever. It's like, dude, it's entertainment at the end of the day. Like, sports. Yeah. You're in the entertainment business. Like, I'm all about it. Like, if you got talent and they're out there like doing their thing, like, I love it. I love the showboating. I love all of that. That to me is like what sports is all about. It's like, you're there to entertain, you're there to put on a show. And yeah, I mean, I agree. I love all that stuff. So, yeah, and that's just what I generally like to see as a sports fan. I just want to be entertained. Whether I'm watching it on TV or paying money to see the games, it's like, you want to see the true talent out there having fun and doing their thing. And yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it.
Well, I feel like, and that was sort of what I was going to parlay into from the band thing too, or bands, is it's interesting because you had kind of said like, like that one good year with the Bills team, like that bought McDermott like all this extra like fan service and time to like, well, he did this, so maybe he can do this. And there's kind of this same thing where I've been thinking about how like fandom for music is so weird, because it's like someone can latch onto a record and be like, oh my God, this is the best record. And then the next one comes out and people are like, meh. But like that one will make them a fan, quote unquote, for forever. And it just is interesting to see that it's like, why wouldn't you ever want to grow with that band? Why wouldn't you want to grow and kind of set down roots and kind of like just experiments? So like the highs and the lows of whatever, like it may not be for you now, but you might go back and listen to it and be like, oh shit, this is actually really fucking good. And it always amazes me when people kind of do that, where they just kind of limit themselves to like, oh yeah, I only like this thing. I only like sports. Yeah, I was into sports or card collecting. Yeah, I only did that when I was a kid. And it's like, well, why not do it now? If it brought you some form of enjoyment, I would imagine it still would unlock that like less shitty person that you are now. Maybe you would find that like happiness in it again.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't, with music, it's just,
it's all subject, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff that'll hit you at different times in your life, whatever formative, part of your life you're in, or whatever's happening, at a given moment, people can just latch on to something, whether, something just kind of hits you and strikes a chord, and then it's, with any band, like it's band stuff, it's, sometimes, why does a certain record click more than a different record? Who knows, again, like who knows what you were going through at that point in your life when you were introduced to it, and like maybe you fell off for whatever reason or you stuck with it. I mean, that's kind of like a hard question to answer. It's like, I don't know. I mean, if we're talking about like just past stuff that like Every Time I Die did, it's like people love Hot Damn. Who knows? It's just lightning in a bottle, you know? Like that was just an era where, you know, I remember doing that record and we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. Like legit. Like, I mean, kind of, you know, it's like there was a little, I remember just the somewhat like strong song structure was like a little more focused on, but still, I mean, we were going to the studio and there was just so many of our peers were just like churning out like insane records. And we're just like, dude, like what? I don't know. We hope this is good. You know, it's like, what do we do? You know? So it's, you know, it's just a time and a place where, you know, I guess if you just grew up, you know, whatever was around you at that point in time, you just latched onto and you either, you know, hung on and stuck around for the ride or, you know, branched off into something else. But, yeah, man, I don't know. It's a tough one to answer, but that's just kind of my view on that.
Well, I think it creates this thing that I've been thinking a lot more about where, you know, like you, I guess, and even to lesser degree myself, because like sometimes I'll have people like literally friends of mine who will watch this or watch an episode or listen to something and then text me about it out of nowhere, no context. And I have to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then they're like, oh, I'm listening to whatever episode. I'm like, hold on, let me think back to 4 years ago to a conversation I had with somebody and kind of remember where I was in my life or whatever. Like, and it's kind of made me realize in doing that, like just thinking about how you have to exist in different planes for people, where it's like for somebody, you and Hot Damn era, like that's the Mitch that they know. And they're like, man, it never got better than that. And you're like, I fucking hope it would, because I'm still here and I think I'm doing really good shit now. But it's weird that I have to, or I exist for you in this state 20 something years back. So I just constantly think about how people have to exist in these different planes when you're in entertainment and creative spaces. And it's kind of a weird thing that it doesn't exist in many other forms of your life outside of the only thing I've been able to articulate it to in a day-to-day sense would be either like an old classmate of yours from like middle school who's like, oh man, you changed. You're like, yeah, that was like 30 years ago, dude.
I mean, I don't know. Life is an artist. Hey, so Jordan's saying, I'm sorry to totally like pivot here. But Jordan's saying he's in the room.
Oh shit. I'm sorry. Nope, he's not. I didn't even think about that because I didn't pull it out of like just the normal widescreen or the thing where it's just our screen.
Okay.
There he is.
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
That's my bad.
Hello.
That's my bad.
All right, you're finally back.
Dude, I was listening to the last half hour. I was chiming in. I was talking.
I'm sorry. That's my fault. That's my fault.
Yeah, you were just straight up not there. Sorry, but you're not breaking.
I was like chiming in and like I was getting kind of ignored, and I'm just like, oh, all right, that's cool.
That's totally my fault, dude. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
I'm sorry. Well, it's kind of like being a group text, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what? We should have had a group text.
Yeah, there you go. I would have left it.
Dude, after like the 5th time that I said something and it didn't, because I was like, okay, maybe these aren't the best jokes, but they were getting like no pop at all. And then like at the 5th time, I'm like, wait a minute, can they hear me? And that's
okay, hey,
I'm sorry.
Dude, run them back. Run the jokes back.
Yeah.
Try them out on a snap. See if they work.
It was like, well, I was talking about how I think I made one about how you sounded like an angry caller because like you listen to those shows like while you're on tour, and like you straight up sound like a guy that calls to fucking Sal Capaccio to complain about the Bills, and like the whole thing. I was like, wow, this is great. I'm just taking it in. I felt like I was listening to a sports podcast. It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to like this. So I don't know, your reach of listeners. I don't think the majority of them want to hear about Buffalo sports and our turmoils. And
dude, when I had Brooks on, all we did the last half hour, 45 minutes was just us talking about Buffalo shit. Like Gabe's Gate, he told me he's going to take me to Barbill because he said that they have the best wings. So I'll find out compared to Gabe's. When we were talking about the Pink. So I always go there I go to the Pink every day that I'm there, and then Mulligan's and a bunch of other places. So we just got real local Buffalo shit.
Yeah, this is I mean, this wasn't what I was expecting out of a podcast. I mean, we're 40 minutes in and like literally barely have talked about music. Now we're talking about like Bar Bill and like chicken wing. I mean, I could talk about Buffalo shit all day. I don't know how interesting that is, but yeah. I mean,
so Chae took me to Gabe's and said that is the spot for the best wing in Buffalo. So I don't know that I like everything I've had there so far. So that's been my go-to spot.
I love Buffalo. I'm true blue.
Cheese.
You know, I'm never going to leave here. Well, I can't say that. Maybe when I'm 65, maybe in 20 years or so. But one of the most annoying Buffalo personality traits is having like hard stances on crazy Buffalo shit, like wings or like, you know, pizza, like all that stuff. It's like, dude, there is, let me put it this way. The chances of you getting a bad wing in Buffalo are very slim. Like almost every spot's awesome. You know, I can probably agree with, you know, 3 or 4 spots that rip. Gabe's Gate is great. Kelly's Corner is awesome. Bar Bill's my favorite, but dude, it's so far away. Dude, East Aurora might as well be like New York City for me. It's like I'm never traveling there. They did open up one kind of closer. They call it Bar Bill North. I think it's in Clarence or something, but you kind of got to go to the East Aurora one to get like to get the charm, like the vibe, like the OG one. Dude, fuck, even Anchor Bar. Listen, dude, if you're not from, again, it's another thing that fucking annoys me about these, you know, these takes. It's like, dude, if you're not from Buffalo, you have to go to Anchor Bar. Like Buffalo Buffalo is a cool city. I love it here. I tell people it's one of the coolest cities that like a lot of people have never been to. And listen, there isn't too much that Buffalo can claim. We can claim wings, and the originator of the chicken wing is the Anchor Bar. You should go there. Like, go in there, take a look at the spot, take the shitty, you know, tourist photo, and have the wings. And the wing is like fine. It's not bad. It's not a bad wing. Like if you
that's not selling it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want my
Come to Buffalo, it's fine.
It's fine. It's just fine.
It's fine. Like I wouldn't like when I don't eat Anchor Bar wings, but I wouldn't tell someone to not go to Anchor Bar. You know, people like Duff's. I don't like Duff's. Doesn't mean it's bad. You know, it's just a different style. Like it's just a saucy wing that I don't like. I wouldn't go there, but you know, like people that like, I wouldn't like shame someone for being like, dude, Duff's is the best or Duff's is terrible. It's like, it's good.
And then there's a lot of people are anti. Like there's a small demographic of Buffalo that hates Anchor Bar, hates the Bills, hates the Sabres, hates Niagara Falls, fucking anything that originated in Buffalo.
How the fuck
the word
can
Buffalo
you hate Niagara Falls?
is a sentence. People hate that.
Dude, hating Niagara Falls is I don't even know what that take is. I mean, a wonder of the world.
Awesome.
You just hate it.
We go every time, and it's always frozen and closed. And I'm like, somehow I still like this.
Dude, do you know how fucking cool Niagara Falls is?
In the summer, I bet it's rad as shit. Like I said, I always go in the wintertime.
It's cool in the fall, spring, and winter.
Those squirrels are outrageous.
Fucking awesome. It's a wonder of the world. Mm-hmm. It fucking powers like a quarter of New York State and Ontario, I think. Like it's freaking awesome, man. And it's in our backyard.
Made of the Mist.
Yeah, okay. Well, Made of the Mist, that's more of like a summer activity. You obviously can't do that in the winter, but
that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't go thinking that like if you're watching The Office and you think you can just go quick for a quick Made of the Mist because Jim and Pam went there like in between fucking wedding vows. They made it seem like it's a 10-minute thing. It's an all-day experience. That really got my goat on that episode. Oh, yeah, we'll be right back. We're just gonna go on the Made of the fucking Mist and get married real quick. So I'm anti that episode.
The only time anything like that has ever happened, and I was like, oh, I get it now. Like that same faux outrage is 30 minutes or less. That stupid movie with Aziz Ansari and Lex Luthor kid from whatever that kid's name is.
Yeah,
that was filmed here. And the opening sequence is him delivering a pizza, and you're like, dude, what the fuck? You're downtown. Now you're in fucking Granville? Those aren't even near each other.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're just like, those aren't even remotely near each other.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, what the second Michael Bay Ninja Turtle movies, one of the chase scenes was filmed in Buffalo. And it's, you know, you get that hometown pride when you watch that shit on the big screen. And, Nightmare Alley too. They filmed in downtown Buffalo for a minute. I get you, man. You're real protective of that stuff.
It's probably
What's
how
his
Chicago
name?
felt.
Del Toro, Guillermo, my boy Guillermo.
Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, my boy. He was here for a minute. See, I only watch movies with one word in them. I don't know. I mean, you guys, you want to learn a lot about me on this podcast. I'm a big Ma fan, Unfriended. UHF, is that one word? I'm into that one.
What was it? What was the other one?
It counts. Steve only goes to see movies that are one word. Oh my god, that's
yeah. I'm only a one word movie fan. Let me ask you this. I mean, I want to interview you too. Ask you questions. So, so we're on you. So you have you were doing video. You put these on YouTube. Like, how many people actually watch these videos?
Dude,
let me also say this. Like, when I listen to podcasts, I never. It's just interesting to me how people consume like media, because I would never watch a podcast on YouTube. Like, if I'm putting it on, like I'm driving, like I'm going to Spotify, or like if I'm in the yard doing stuff, like I'm just listening to stuff on Spotify. Like, obviously if you put them on YouTube, I'm sure people watch them, but like, do you get more hits on YouTube as opposed to?
So it's really weird. Like sometimes this is good, bad, or indifferent, however you want to say it. I don't pay for shit. Like I don't pay for ads. Everything I do is organic and DIY. Like I don't want people, because I bought likes and I bought listeners and all that shit. Like that's just never appealed to me. It's like, I want to build something authentically. And so there are people that I've had on the show that are like people I really enjoy. Like the singer of this band, like Jason Boyd from Audio Vent. I had him on a while ago. And I was like, I don't think anyone gives a fuck about that dude. Like, not being rude, but it's
yeah, dude, and catching strays right now.
No, but like, I really love that band, and I've always wanted to talk to him. He was a bucket list guest for me, and the episode on audio format didn't really do much. The video version has far exceeded that. There was another dude in the band. Like, it's crazy to see like how. Yeah, he looks. I mean, it looks pretty much like a grizzled Brandon Boyd.
There's your answer.
I mean, it's his brother, but it's a thing where sometimes it's crazy to see, and more to your point, Mitch, like, I don't know how people take in media. So like, there are episodes and people will find an episode and like, it might have like 3,000 downloads. And I'm like, it's wild that this one has hundreds and hundreds of comments and so many views, yet the audio version didn't even do 200 downloads.
Yeah, like, you gotta rope them in. You gotta rope them in with visuals. You know what I mean? Like, if you're ever listening to a podcast and they start talking about fucking shit that you have to see, and they don't care because that's how they get you in. Like right now, like, watch this. Ready? Like, check out this picture. Like, how fucking cool is this picture? See, right now, people listening are gonna be like, shit, I gotta watch the fucking YouTube. People watching YouTube, no, I'm not fucking holding up a picture. But that's right. And then you get the double watch. I've done that before, where like I'll listen to a podcast, they'll be talking about a fucking video clip. And then I got to go back and I got to watch YouTube the fucking podcast to see what the fuck they were talking about.
Yeah, it's the medium as a whole, and just trying to figure out everything. Like, I constantly talk on this about like how, you know, like the big thing, and I'm sure you guys get it too, where it's like you'll probably be in meetings and they're like, you need to do these things, and you're like, why the fuck do we need to do it? Do you have hard data that proves that this will do something? Because like a big one for social media posting, well, you got to post clips and you got to do this and you got to do that, you got to use algorithms, and it's like, or hashtags. And I remember asking like people as grown adults, it's fucking stupid to be like, have you ever clicked on a hashtag? No. Have you ever followed one? No. Well, then why do we have to do it if you don't even do it? What is the actual thing? And for me, like the thing I always come back to when people are like, post clips, which I did that for a while, and then it was like, I have a real full-time job, I'm married, I do shit, like I try to do this and make it work, but it's like, if it doesn't get people to listen to the full episode and correlate into downloads, it's not worth it to me. Like, I'm not going to put in the extra work and not get a return of investment. Like, there's a certain point where you just got to understand, like, it's not worth it to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's like any craft. It's just how much you put into it versus how much you want to get out of it. I don't think we've run into that problem yet. We're currently just kind of coasting on letting the music and the shows speak for themselves. So we haven't. I don't really know. People, or they might be afraid that they'd get laughed at if they like came to us and were just like, "We need here's the." Oh, actually, no, we do make fun of our manager because we love how much he loves algorithms. So yeah, so we just kind of laugh whenever we get told that shit. It was like, well, no, we're just gonna kind of write some fucking sick songs and play some shows and fucking film some stuff. That's probably low key what I'm starting to really, really, really enjoy most about Better Lovers. Not most, not even close to most. But what I'm surprised at how much I enjoy is having someone there to do it all for us. Like, we'll have people there taking pictures, we'll have someone there taking video, and that's just for personal reasons. That means like the more someone else is doing it, the less I have to spend on my phone. So I get to actually like enjoy my life. I get to actually enjoy the time in the studio. I get to actually enjoy tour because I'm not like, wait, hold on, do that again. I didn't have my phone out. Like, now it's someone else's job, and it makes just for a higher quality of living because you're not like, wait, hold on, I missed that. Hold on, wait, should I? Okay, wait, okay, you send me the fucking clip from this. Wait, who's the one with the clip of this? And now it's someone else's job, and so you can kind of just chill and live your life. It's great.
Yeah.
So I recommend that. Get someone else to do it for you.
Yeah. And content's just becoming so much part of like the art now, with the music. So it's good, like Jordan said, it's good to have someone else there to kind of deal with that. And it's just one less thing for you to have to worry about. And especially, like you said, getting older, it's just like, look, I mean, we got like, it isn't getting easier to play these type of shows at this age. No joke. Like, like I know for me, it's like, I love the 45 minutes, whatever amount of time we are on stage, but the rest of that time I'm like spending recovering like mentally and physically to do that again the next day. Right. So to have one less thing to worry about, where it's like, okay, well, now we have, we've started incorporating like a photographer and videographer to come and like handle all that stuff. And it's
an ice bath.
Nice. Yeah, it's nice.
I kind of want to get to some of the questions I asked just because I'm an inquisitive person.
Oh, you want to do an interview?
That's not really an interview. Yeah.
You mean 52 minutes in? You don't want to answer one or ask one question?
Oh, you want to get to your first question at minute 53?
Yeah, I had to ease you in. This is the foreplay. I foreplayed it. Now we're gonna get down to the fucking.
Oh, dude, I'm rock hard now. I'm ready.
There we go.
Dayquil's hit in.
Yeah, I had to wait for that. The sort of robo trip that it gives you. Hopefully you ate something though. I did realize that that's a thing. If you don't eat before you're taking Dayquil, it just fucks your stomach up.
I did. You know what? Funny. Let me not ask you any more questions yet, and just talk about this. So, Will Putney was in town. He was in Buffalo earlier this afternoon. I just got a text. He's like, Mitch, I'm in Buffalo. I'm at the Bank of America in Elmwood. I'm like, dude, that's my bank. I get the shit that I get excited about. Like, I love Bank of America. Like, I see Bank of America, I get excited. I was like, dude, that's my fucking bank. I'll be there in 5 minutes. So, I threw my sneakers on.
Yo, what are you up to? Let's hit this bank. Like, it sounds like it used to be a club. Now it's a bank.
Yeah. So I met him at the bank. He's on tour with
go on, Elwood. It's fucking going off.
Oh, dude. Well, the energy around the city today is not as good after that Bills loss. But yeah, so he's he had a quick lunch stop in Buffalo. His band End is on tour, and they're playing Toronto.
I was bummed that I couldn't meet up with them because I couldn't leave the Metallica show and then go to the Sanctuary and go see them and then come back. So I miss them too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so we had a nice lunch. We went to Strong Hearts, and I had that for lunch. So yeah, I did get some food today. So I'm feeling pretty good.
There you go. So it's something I'd kind of asked Will. And
so hit record.
And right now.
Starting now.
So something I had kind of asked Will, because I find as we get older that the opportunities and the likelihood of us doing a lot of firsts again is kind of not as prevalent as it used to be when we were younger. So the idea of doing something new in your career that you've been doing for 20 plus years, I find to be a very interesting talking point of how people navigate that and what it looks like for everybody. And so obviously there's the familiarity of working together and playing together because you guys have been doing it for so long. obviously adding Will and Greg in, how was it to kind of integrate new people into the fold and kind of make a new language of sorts
The
together?
pooch and the puck. The pooch and the puck. Yeah, it's Will. We have a longer relationship with than well, a longer working relationship. I've known Greg longer, but I've worked with Will more because of like you mentioned, we've been in the studio with him since like 2015, I think 2016. So that felt very natural. There was no weirdness or growing pains involved in that. It was very just natural, smooth transition to working with him. Greg, it's just an honor. Actually, watching Will record Greg, it was funny because like he was like a kid on Christmas, man. Because we're all fans. It is weird, and I don't take this for granted, to be friends with people you're very big fans of, and that's kind of been something that I've had in my life since my late teens. You know what I mean? Like when I went on tour with American Nightmare, I would absolutely consider them my favorite band at the time, and you're playing with these people that you want to seem like down to earth around, but you also are just blown away by their talents, and you look up to them. And so to now be in a band with one and kind of, it's almost like you have to kind of pretend like you don't have a crush on a girl that you do. You have to like play it cool, and that's kind of how I felt around Greg when we first started kind of jamming and trading demos and things, and it started exactly how you'd think it would. It's a fucking dude in a room with a dude that you're a massive fucking fan of, and you're just like, don't blow this, don't fucking blow this, be cool, be fucking cool. Like you're like talking to yourself in the fucking mirror, like fucking Ben Stiller and Something About Mary. It's and slowly you become friends, like close, and that's been amazing. Like me and Greg have so much in common. I love his personality. I love being on tour with him. He's got that Dan Campbell to him. Like if he told me to run through a brick wall, I'd be like, wait, which one? This one? All right, here I go. I just woke up. Okay, fine. I don't care. He has that kind of positive reinforcement or just enforcement. It's palpable. You pick up on it. I love being in a room with him. I love being on a stage with him. He's funny. And so it's really just been, and he just fucking crushes his job. He's just like, okay, here's everything perfectly. And you're just blown away. You're fucking blown away. Like Will, when he was recording this last song that's coming out tomorrow, he was just giggling because he was like, okay, what? I mean, I guess we could try one more. Like the dude was just fucking nailing it. Just coming in, he showed up at like 9:30 at night because he's like, he had a flight, but then he was just like, yeah, I think I'm just going to drive. The guy is just such a wild card. I already have so many fucking amazing stories about him. So I guess the short answer is better than ever, man. This transition, this new thing makes it feel young. It makes it feel, there is no age to new. And so it doesn't feel like we're in pain. It doesn't feel like we're trying. It doesn't feel like we're stretching something that can't stretch as far as it can stretch. It feels so natural and so energetic and so youthful, and it's great.
Yeah, that's a great question because, I guess, look, like anything in life, when you've been a part of something for so long and then, like a job career, whatever, like you've been doing a job for 2 decades and then, you start over in your 40s, it could be a little scary, but with this, it's just new, but like kind of familiar at the same time. When it started, it was, it just like anything else that we would approach writing, with the 3 of us. It started with 4, because Andy was originally like he was a part of it, or at least in the plans for it. We did do one practice with Andy and had some riffs, but then, when we kind of, we just kind of kept going, kept writing. Jordan and Goose kept flying into Buffalo because, Buffalo's the headquarters, so it's like everything. We write and demo everything here. So, and I guess we just kind of kept writing, and we just kind of slowly realized that Andy was just, he was just too busy with his wrestling career. It's like we kind of just had to let him do that, and I think we were just like, hey, look, we just kind of got to keep writing. And if Andy wants to be a part of it, then cool, we'll save his spot. But, once we started like getting in the studio, like, in Buffalo where we, did the last 2 Eated records and demoing and started like really laying down some stuff, and Jordan just brought some killer shit. So we were like, well, it's like, we're going to keep doing this. And, if Andy wants to be a part of it, we're here. But as we were, as time was going on, we were just like, okay, well, I think we kind of get the idea again. Like Andy's just, he needs to focus on wrestling full time. And, we had a nice little sit down with him, and, where he told us he couldn't do, the band. And we were like, okay. So we went to New Jersey and recorded the 4 songs, which eventually ended up being the EP that we put out in July. And at the time it was just me, Jordan, and Goose, with no singer and no second guitar player. So it was really just how we would approach any other. I don't know, just like think of a record cycle ending. It's like, okay, well, right. The band ended, so it's like we're just gonna write more stuff. And it's the same thing with a record cycle. When a record cycle's done, you maybe take a month or 2 and you start writing new stuff. And that's what this was. So it was just we were just kind of like, we're starting over, but it's new, and there was new energy. And, we went in the studio with Will. Like I said, we were familiar with Will, and we were kind of dropping some hints like, hey, we're going to need a second guitar player eventually. And he was kind of, not shooting it down, but, keeping options open, like bending an ear. And then I remember there was like a really bad snowstorm in Buffalo last Christmas, like really bad. Where like I lost power for 4 days. Like
that really bad. Yeah.
It was really bad. So, but strangely enough, my childhood friend Bill Gallagher across the street, they had power. So we stayed with him for 2 days. But I have like 2 dogs. We had a new puppy. She was like 5 months old at the time, and we were just kind of crowding his space. And I got a friend. I'm getting some way crazy shinfo, but his company owns the Hyatt, which was like, 10 blocks away, and they were pet friendly. And it was just a fucking state of emergency in Buffalo. So I remember walking to the Hyatt with my wife and my 2 dogs. And I'm spending Christmas like literally in a hotel room eating spaghetti, because that's all that was there. And Greg, maybe like a few days before that, was like, dude, I'm in. I heard these songs, I'm in. And we just let Will know, like, hey, Greg is down for this. Like he's in. And I remember we had the phone call. It was either Christmas Eve or Christmas. I remember sitting in the hotel room with like Will on speaker being like, dude, I'm in. Let's just fucking go. Let's do this. And I would just remember leaving that phone call being like, fuck yeah. Like this is going to be cool. Like this, we were confident in the songs. And just, I remember being like, dude, we have a singer that like, we've admired for, like Jordan said, for like a fan just for 20 years. Like Greg is just a weapon, man.
Yeah, he's a bulldozer. It's
this
amazing.
Guy is a weapon. Like not only like his Dillinger stuff, which obviously speaks for itself, but like his solo stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anyone's like seen him doing like the stuff with Cantrell.
Oh yeah, so good.
It's like, it is next level, dude. Like that guy has so many tools in his arsenal. So like we just couldn't have been more stoked. And then that's just kind of how it came about. And then the holidays came and went, and then Greg he recorded 30 Under 13 in California, I think in February, right, Jordan? January, February.
Yeah.
Me and Will flew cross country for a day just to watch him do vocals for that song. Mm-hmm. We flew cross country. Jordan was there, and then Goose couldn't make it. But yeah, we sat in the studio. We watched him finish up that song, and then we went out for sushi after, and went out to a bar and had a couple drinks, and then we literally flew home the next day. and then the band was born.
Yeah, it was. He sent like maybe 20 seconds of that song, and I heard it, and I could feel my life changing. You try to visualize your future, you try to visualize your goals, and sometimes in life they're a little cloudier than others and foggy. And I heard that, and it was just like my future. Like I was looking into a crystal ball, and I was like, oh, there's the band. There it is. And I must have listened to the 20 songs, 20 seconds. I'm not, no exaggeration, 100 times in a row. It was like, I mean, I don't even listen to a song on loop. I listened to the 20 seconds for hours. I was just so excited. It was amazing. And you knew that all the dominoes were about to fall into place.
Yeah, and then there's all that cool, crazy new energy of just starting something new, but realizing that it just all that, like how you want to curate it, how you want to like show this to the world, like everything from a fucking band name, which was probably literally the worst part. Like weeks on a fucking band, dude. The shit that I had in my notes, which is, dude, we agonized over this shit. I mean, do you know how fucking hard it is to come up with a band name?
Probably as hard as a podcast name.
Fucking hard.
And
then you're thinking about it so much, you're like, dude, almost every band name sucks. Like they're not cool. Like it's just
or they're taken. If you find if you think of a good name, you then have to go and like search Spotify to see if it already exists. And nine times out of 10, every good idea is already a German DJ. Like,
bro, it was
with like 35 followers, and you're just like, okay, well, we can't be that. Okay, well, we can't be that. Okay, well, we can't be that.
Yeah, it was misery. It was hands down my least favorite part. But the cool shit, like artwork and like logos and like, like you get to like be a part of the ground floor of something. And it was just a unique opportunity that, not a lot of people get to do. And
right.
We were, I don't know. It just felt really freaking cool to, have the opportunity to do that. And, like you said, like just it new, but familiar, but very cool. And, we're just very grateful and humbled to be where we are right now.
Well, I kind of came to that question in a weird way today where I had remembered, let me go back just a little bit. So during the pandemic, I had gone to therapy for basically overthinking shit to death. Like I would think and obsess about something, and then it'd be like, I remember my therapist being like, why don't you just focus on the thing and then solve what you can deal with in front of you and then just move forward. And then we kind of unlocked some other shit. But I had remembered, Jordan, I think it was in the chat with Matt from the Bronx you had done on his podcast a while ago, and it was kind of right out of the pandemic. And you had made the comment, and this sounded like very therapy talk brain to me, and then maybe that's what I'm picking up on it. But you had said that you were so excited to start touring again and kind of put out this record and all these news again because you had something taken away from you, and you were excited to see what it all meant to you again and kind of re-explore and refine all of these things. And that was kind of the emphasis of that thought of like starting something anew and doing it so late in life. But it also, it was something that in therapy we talk about how like just something as simple as your intention and your like how you want to talk about something, you can look at it negatively or you can kind of talk about it positively, and that will kind of determine the route you go on from there with whatever it is. And it always struck me as something where it's like, even in a thing where your career could have been taken away and you had to refigure out who you are to yourself, to other people, that you came out of it in such a positive manner. And it seems like to me that this same thing kind of was how, and more to Jordan, how you attacked this thing. And I wondered if potentially because of already kind of going through this so recently of having something kind of taken away from you and figuring out who you are and what do you want to be and attacking it in a more positive way, positive mindset within your intentions, if that same kind of thing parlayed itself into this and made Better Lovers an easier time to navigate making it happen?
Yeah, it's as much as we like to say it's a brand new band, we know that we're all just kind of made up of these past experiences, and good or bad, and it can't really be ignored that it came about in very terrible circumstances. But like you were saying, I am very big into the concept that life is happening for you and not to you, and if you can look back, which I have done, on anything bad, your worst days in your entire life, you can during those days, you're like, there's no salvaging this. This is a wreck. Why is this happening to me? But then years later, you go, oh, if that wouldn't have happened, then I wouldn't have done this. And if that bad day wouldn't have happened, then I wouldn't have done this. And it could be as cliche as, oh, I got fired from a job, and if it was the worst day in my life, but if I never would have got fired, I never would have got the new job. Or, another obvious example is a relationship where you're heartbroken, but if you never got out of that relationship, you wouldn't have gotten into the new relationship. And once you can actually look back on your life and take accountability for those bad days, like true hard accountability, where you're like, what did I do, what choice did I make that put me in that room? What decision did I was there, I control my 2 feet, my left foot and my right foot got me into this spot, and that spot is where this bad thing happened. If you can look back at every bad thing and kind of break it down to your own choice, then it kind of makes your future a little bit more fun, because then you kind of know, like, oh shit, I was in control of everything in the past, which means I'm in control of everything I'm doing now. It means I'm in control of everything I'm going to be doing. And Better Lovers is now one of those things where you're completely in control of it, and you're not going to let it slip through your fingers. You're not going to take it for granted because of the years of saying, oh shit, I really miss fucking dicking around backstage and just eating fucking rotten hummus and old celery. Like, you're complaining about it when it happens, but you'd give fucking anything to have it again. And you tell yourself, next time around, I'm gonna fucking laugh at the flat tires. I'm gonna laugh at the terrible hotels that the crazy stories that happen at those things. And so you really do see your entire life differently once you take complete control of it. And that's where I am right now. I'm loving everything about Better Lovers. I'm loving every show we play. I'm loving every person I meet. I took a lot of inspiration from Green Day, actually, because they're one of my favorite Green Day records. Me and Steve are both big Green Day fans. Is American Idiot, and American Idiot happened because they recorded an entire shitload of songs, and then lost them. Like, this was obviously pre what technology is now. But then you look back and you go, well, we would have never written American Idiot unless we lost an entire fucking record. And
Right.
so then you start to look and go, wow, do you know how bad you must have you must have been suicidal if you wrote and recorded a record and then lost it all. But then you eventually get to a point in your life where you're like, holy shit, losing that record was the best thing that happened to us, because then we wrote our biggest record ever and we became even bigger than we've ever been. And so anything that bad that happens on the Better Lovers journey is I have an easy ability to know that I'll be able to look back and go, well, thank God that bad thing fucking happened, because this great thing came out of it. And that's my answer.
Yeah, like, look, a cool thing about Better Lovers is, and I mean, I've been fucking with Jordan for almost 25 years now, just like friend wise and band wise, and Goose maybe the past like 5 years or so. But it's just a cool, unique part of the band is we're all older, You know, everyone's just been through it. You know what I mean? Everyone's been through shit. You know, and there's accountability. Like you can have tough conversations with people and no one's going to get mad. And these are the type of people that I want to be around and like will go to like battle for and war for. And you kind of have to have that. I mean, really just in any scenario in life, like marriage, like just anything, like any relationship or whatever. But, you know, especially like in a band, it's just so unique. It's just, you got however many people, 3, 4, 5 dudes. It's like, you all kind of have to be on the same page, like, you know, in some way. And, you know, and like, yeah, it's like, again, it's like, we're just older. We've been through it. There's no like 20 years of baggage or, you know, like past shit, you know, like everything, like I said, it's healthy. Everyone's talking, communication's good.
Yeah, when you start getting smarter, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just trying to add on that, you know, when you get smarter about, you know, that phrase, picking your battles, we're all smart about that, and then we're all so grateful to be doing this that we're realizing there really are no battles. Like we're unbothered. We're like the most unbothered band. I can't even believe it. Everything is funny. Every catastrophe is hilarious because we know we've been there. We know we've got the battle scars, and we know that. Oh, all right, cool. Let's fucking get through this next. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Something else I kind of wanted to ask you guys is, it seems like a lot of bands in your situation, I think would be like, oh, we have earned the right to do this and skip kind of being a new band. And it seems like you guys, don't want to put words in your mouth, but are kind of wanting to earn it again. And, you know, again, like we were kind of saying earlier about how like there's a lot of firsts that are happening now with this new band that, you know, a lot of people don't get to often experience this far into a career. What are some of the things that you have found the most rewarding and maybe the surprising things that have happened from kind of, you know, doing the first of 4 on a bill again and stuff like that?
Almost everything. Like literally almost everything. Like from the first show or shows to the amphitheaters to a couple of the one-offs we were doing in the summer, like literally you can just, the energy and just how crazy it's been received. I mean, we were talking about it all summer. Like after every show, we were like, this is crazy. Like almost just like in disbelief. It's just such a weird, like anomaly. I don't know. Like you could just kind of feel every show, you know, I mean, look, when you've been in a band for 20 years, you've been playing the same songs for so long, it almost just became like, it was just automatic almost, you know? And, you know, with the ETID, you know, like when we would do like Christmas shows or like, you know, you introduce a new song into a set that you haven't played before, those were always just like the weird, like, oh my God, we haven't played this. Like, how do I move to this? You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Dude, with Better Lovers, like, especially some of these, like, the songs that, you know, some of these riffs that Jordan was bringing, it's like, they're just harder to play. So it's like, not only do you have, like, the anxiety of, like, starting over, it's just like, we literally have never played these live. Like, you don't know how to move. You know what I mean? You're trying to become comfortable for the first time playing these on stage, like in front of people. So there's like a lot of that, like weird, nervous anxiety energy. Like, I mean, dude, straight up, like our first ever practice no joke, our first ever practice as the 5 of us, a band in the room, was the day before the first ever Better Lovers show.
Oh.
Ever. All 5 of us on stage, the first practice ever, all 5 of us like together. Mm-hmm. So I mean,
the first time we were all 5 together in the same room, because when Steve mentioned we flew out to watch Greg record vocals, even that Goose couldn't make it. So the first time all 5 of us were in the same room was when we filmed the video.
Yeah. like not even playing the song for real, just playing, you know. So I mean, just crazy shit like that. Like it's just like unbelievable. Like when you think back about it, but
yeah, I had someone. I was having a conversation with a friend, and because I was having trouble, and you know, you seem like a very mentally self-aware kind of guy, and I'm sure you can understand how when you're having trouble with something, the fact that you're having trouble with it could just add on to the trouble. You're like, okay, first there's the trouble, now there's the trouble I'm having with the fact that I'm having trouble. And so I was just having difficulty feeling comfortable on stage again, and it was taken a week, and you know, I was really getting in my own head, like, is this just I was so certain this was the path. I was so certain this is the path. Is this not the path? Was I not supposed to get back in a band? Like, this is so hard. And just someone was just like, well, maybe it's hard because you're fucking playing really hard songs on stage in front of 1,000 people. And I was like, oh yeah. Like that speaks to the newness of it, was that, you know, we're not playing, the muscle memory isn't there yet. Yeah, we've been on those stages before, and yeah, we played those amps before, but we have to almost kind of like after having a stroke, you have to like relearn like how to walk, how to talk, and there was a lot of that, and once I just kind of was a little easier on myself and said, maybe this is hard because it's supposed to be hard, all of a sudden it kind of started getting funner, and next thing I know, I'm like, holy shit, like we would be stoked after show, like, yo, this one part I totally didn't think about it while I was playing it. You know, like, and we always have kind of a running joke. We tease our old drummer, and every time I had legs, he used to say that if he didn't eat before a show, that he would start thinking about his bills during the show. Like he would lose focus, and he had to eat. And so we were like, all right, everybody eat, or else we're gonna start thinking about our bills. And so that was like the joke. Like, yo, that was so awesome. I was up there, I was thinking about my bills. It was great. So it's cool to be reminded of all the firsts, because those are special. They're special in every part of life, with every job, with every person, with every relationship. People want to be reminded of those firsts, and so once you kind of embrace the scariness of it, it really started. I really started enjoying it.
I think you couldn't really have gone out with a better band. Maybe that could have helped you all collectively through that, or been more supportive of understanding that than the Ghost Inside, honestly.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's
right. Always. Did you lose me again?
No, your video's not there, but we can hear you.
Sorry, hold on.
You're good.
Okay, let me do the thing where I call back. All right,
okay. Now that you're telling me that, I can block out.
Oh wait, hold on. How about that?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, sorry.
Because I mean, I feel like those guys obviously, had to figure out how to overcome everything that they did, and then obviously figuring out what playing live is going to be like, and a lot of firsts for them. So I'm sure that, not trying to pry into any private conversations, but I'm sure, that was probably a great band to go out with and maybe have some of those kind of conversations of like, this is kind of awkward and weird, and thank you for allowing us to kind of do it.
Big time. Yeah, I mean, it's
I didn't want to compare us to them. I didn't want to be like, hey, well, you know how like it's so tragic to even joke about, but there was never a part where I was like, well, yeah, I totally get it, because I too was in a band that broke up. Like there's a so monumental that yes, your question makes sense, but I never even felt like I was on their level, when I was around them. I think that you'd hear, a couple of them would make a joke here or there. I'd be like, oh, it feels so weird to be this. It feels so weird to be that. And they're just like, yeah, we know. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. You get out of your own head, and that is an inspirational story. To anytime you have such adversity of, I mean, physical, mental, emotional, there's takes the cake. And so yeah, I guess because theirs was so much more massive than ours, it did kind of put it into perspective. The whole like what the fuck am I complaining about? You know, kind of thing that you need to do to yourself a couple hundred times a day when you just kind of realize you don't really have it that bad.
That's okay. And then Andrew can turn his leg around and put a beer on it for you.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I just don't. It just speaks to the human spirit, to willpower. I don't know if I would be able if I literally lost a part of me. I just don't know what I would do. And you can't even say what you would do in that kind of situation. Their situation is the kind of situation where you just step back and you go, I don't know what I would do in that situation, and you're kind of in awe. They got it all back together.
Yeah, big time.
Absolutely.
It was really inspirational to see it every night, and it was we were very humbled to be a part of it. So we were stoked that they asked us.
I think one of my I know I've told it on this podcast before, but it always makes me it pops me so hard. When I had gone up to Andrew's house when he still lived here in Michigan to do a podcast with him, he was like, because we were talking about how people are just insensitive and like will ask shit that you probably shouldn't ask out loud. And he was making the comment. He's like, yeah, I was pumping gas one day, and the dude holds the door open for me and then just goes, where'd it go?
Oh,
and he's like, where'd it go? Where'd it go?
like what? Like, wait, what are you talking about? Oh, shit,
yeah.
Where did it go?
I think that's what he said he did. He was like, what do you mean? Where'd what go?
Yeah, people are fucking crazy. Shit.
Kind of want to end on a less bummer note than that, but Blissmas, we are just under a month away. Looking forward to coming to Buffalo. Actually, my wife and I were walking the dog yesterday, and we were talking about how unseasonably warm it's been right now for us up here in Michigan. And I was like, we might go to Buffalo for the first time, and it's not fucking snow covered. I might be able to just wear a light jacket instead of having to bring boots and all this stuff with me. So I'm excited to get back to Buffalo.
Did you like the song? I mean, now that we're because we're excited to play that there.
It's
really, really, really excited that that's probably been my thing I need to work on the most is patience, and I want to just have more songs and write more songs and release more songs, but at the same time it doesn't make any sense because I also want to play more shows. So I'm just like, okay, what do we do first? So I'm just ecstatic that Blissmas will be the first time we get to play that song and have people know it.
I got a weird question for you guys, actually. I didn't even think of that until Jordan just kind of said that. With this being a new thing, are you wanting to do more of kind of the instant gratification of dropping singles every so often and keeping it new? Or do you still really kind of fuck with the idea of we're going to do a record and we're kind of doing something that's more curated and kind of a release like that?
Steve can go first. I definitely am at the point where I love the surprise releases. It was cool. Ethan never did them. So this was just really awesome to check off the list, and I'm sure we'll be doing it again. But my answer is currently I'm in full-blown full-length mode at the moment mentally.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something new, something different. Like I said, we just never did that before, so it's just kind of exciting. It's how people are kind of just consuming music these days. A lot more people are just throwing out singles, as opposed to, I mean, I don't know. I don't really dig too much into the stats, but I mean, in the plays and streams, but it's a lot of times people, you drop a record and it's other than the single or two singles or videos, it's once you get to track 12 of the record, it's just so not played as much as everything else, So I don't know. It feels kind of exciting to do the single thing. I mean, a lot of this too, especially this year with 2023 just being the birth of the band and just existing. It's we're kind of just working on some time constraints, It's Greg was busy with stuff and Will already had stuff. So we kind of had to work around schedules and and then we took the tour, when Under Oath and Ghost Inside asked us to if we wanted to take that tour, we of course said yes. It's just kind of working in some short window time frames. And then, with this Christmas with this holiday thing, which we weren't even really 100% going to do one this year. But I think once we got on the road this summer, you know, and we're at the merch table every day, you know, so we're talking to everyone, and
we're accessible.
The overwhelming amount of people that were just like, please, I want to get to Buffalo in December. Like, we love it. You know, I think I've just realized it's just so much bigger than any, like, the band, the music, whatever. I mean, it's just, again, it's almost just like second nature. It's just a religion. Like, it just, I mean, straight up, it is hands down that weekend is the thing I am hands down the most proud of with Every Time I Die. Looking back, it is absolutely that weekend. The community, like the people, just how hard we worked to, you know, like we were so hands-on, like everything. We picked every single band, like it all filtered through us. Like we just straight up were just having our favorite bands play. And it's like, what else?
We fucking stimulated the Buffalo economy, like bars, restaurants, tourist spots. It was devastating to a lot of people when it stopped, and we kind of didn't want to like, you know, when something's kind of like you don't want to admit it. Like, yo, this is a fucking big deal. The ripple effect that just getting on stage at Riverworks had was massive, and it was just so big. You didn't even want to admit that it was gone, and you wanted to just fix it. Sorry, you just wanted to replace it. It was just like Steve said, we knew it was coming back. We knew we had to do it, but I think we just naturally went like, really, this soon? Like, we have 4 songs, and then we, like, you know, to echo what Steve said, there wasn't a show that went by in every city, West Coast, Furnace Fest, fucking England, you know, Boston, Buffalo, obviously. There wasn't one day that went by where someone wasn't like, you guys having a Christmas show? You guys having a Christmas show? Give me a reason to go to Buffalo in December. Like, what the fuck? Okay.
Yeah. And again, we just quickly realized that it was just like, again, like we just kind of like, you know, just realized we had to do it. Like, it's just so many people love it, you know? So we're just like, all right, you know, let's do it. Like Jordan said too, it's like, I'm big on the charity stuff that we were doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, like that was like a big thing for me too. That I really wanted to dive into. So this year we're doing Toys for Tots, nonprofit, you know, bring a toy to the ballroom show, and then we'll have some, you know, give you like a little ticket or something, take it to the merch table. We'll have some free goodies for you. But yeah, it's just bringing that community back together, which is just, again, a thing I was really proud of that we did in the past. And I don't know, I just felt like we needed to do it again for just, you know, everyone, for like the community and just all the people that just really like loved it and enjoyed doing it. You know, it just brought so many people together and like so much joy and happiness. It's like, all right, fuck it, let's do it. And I mean, I'll be honest, like Jordan said, it's like, dude, we have 4 songs out, you know? So we did wrestle, with, you know, Riverworks. We decided against this year. Next year will be different. Like, just straight up, like we'll bring it back there. And, you know, like once we have a full length out and all that. But yeah, we decided, you know what, let's just do like a little more stripped down one. And it sold out so fast. It was just like, we were just blown away.
I couldn't believe I got tickets. So
yeah, everything about this, again, like just go back to your question, like we're just every step of the way, we've just been blown away. It's so overwhelming, so humbled, so grateful. It's like, okay, well, you know what? We're not doing Riverworks. Let's see if we can do another show. Like, dude, every venue in Buffalo was just booked on that Saturday. We're like, all right, do we do a matinee show? It's like, you know, like Rec Room was in the mix, but it's like we just did Rec Room. So it's like I'm always big on, for those events, just especially people that are out of town. I just want people to see other parts of Buffalo. Like, you've been to Rec Room before, you've been to Riverworks before. It's like, here's Ironworks. You might not have been there before, so let's do a matinee show.
I've literally never been there. I must have been to 1,000 live music events in Buffalo in my lifetime. I've never been to Ironworks. I'm excited.
And it's a cool venue. Like, I was in a cover band for 10 years. I played it. It's fucking awesome. There's no barricade, so it'll be unlike the ballroom show. So that show will probably be a little crazier, no barricade. They're cool with kids doing their thing. And then, I don't know, we contacted the Sabres and we're just like, hey, we got this show across the street. And like, I know people like, they like doing some activities. And a lot of people like either going to a Bills or Sabres game. And we were like, hey, can you like get us a block of some tickets? And they were like, hey, we'll give you 50 tickets. If you sell 50 tickets, we'll have, we'll let you guys come on the ice and take a group photo at the end. And now we're up to like 200. Like we have like almost like a half of an entire section. So it's like, it's just, dude, it's so cool. It's so crazy. I can't fucking wait for next month. Yeah. And like I said, we're just like, we have to do this. So it feels cool. I'm just stoked to, kind of just be a part of that again. And, kind of start off, a little bit more scaled back this year. And then, kind of maybe go back to the experience that people were kind of, used to the last 3 or 4 in the future. But yeah, can't wait. That's cool that you're going too.
Yeah, so my wife had joked after the last one, because on a more personal note, I had kind of, through having friends of you guys, I'd kind of been told about like what was going on. And I ended up leaving after Ice-T's set, the last Tidmas, because I was like, I saw you guys at Pyramid Scheme, and it was the first time you guys had played there, and it was rad. And like, for me, I didn't want my last like memories of that band to kind of be on a sour note personally. I wanted it to be happy memories and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to go explore more of Buffalo and hang out with my wife. And it was a thing where, when we were leaving, she goes, I don't have to see this band ever again. Because she's like, how many times do you have to see this band? Because in the course of us dating and being married, I think I have taken her to about, out of the 40-something I had seen, I think she has been in there for almost half. And so I joked when I bought the tickets, I was like, do you want to go to Buffalo? And she's like, for what? We're just going on a trip? And I was like, no, Better Lovers is doing a Christmas show. Yeah. And then she was like, okay, like she's interested now. But it's funny because like the first time we went was the year that like you guys had Knocked Loose and Turnstile, like as one of the first couple of bands. And she wore the wrong shoes. And I was like, wear something that's going to be comfortable because we're going to be there all day. And she didn't, but we could leave and come back, but we didn't get back in time. So my headliner was Knocked Loose at that Tidmas. And she felt so bad that she bought me tickets to the next one that you guys played, the last one.
That's a nice lady you got. Well, that's a nice
lady. It is.
And you're very new, yeah.
So I'm very much looking forward to going. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing you guys play a small room again and to see kind of the community. I think I joked at one of the previous Tidmases, like some dude walked by and I was like, I've seen your dick on Reddit, like in the ETID group or something like that. And I was like, I wish I didn't know that, but that's the kind of community that like you guys have fostered and harbored over the 20-something years, that it's more than any one person could ever be. And I think to kind of really bring it all back, it's sort of what encapsulates the fucking Buffalo as a whole. Like, you were talking about the thin, lean times of the sports town and everything else, but you guys always bond together and stick together because of the hope of the good times that you will have and the good memories. And I feel like there isn't any other thing that makes me happy than like going to see you guys play. And like I said, I haven't gotten to see you play yet, but it seems like I haven't gotten to see Better Lovers play yet, but it is a thing where it seems like from all accounts, literally the photo that I'm using, I already made the graphic for this episode, is because I can't find a photo of the two of you together in Better Lovers at this point. It's the photo. It looked like I think you guys were overseas and Jordan's got a big ass shitty grin on his face and Mitch has got his head on your shoulder.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's cool.
That to me is like it. You just see that in every photo and everything that you guys are doing. that is coming across, that like you guys are happy and excited to be doing this. And I think Blissmas is going to be a great end to a formative year for this band. And I'm very excited.
Thank you, man. Those are some extremely kind words, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that makes me very, very happy and proud to hear all that. So that's very, very cool. Like I said, we couldn't be more stoked and humbled. And yeah, that's all great, man. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. There's other things I would love to talk about, but it feels almost like that was a wrapping up point. So I will say, as I like to say, that maybe there will be a part 2 down the road.
Yeah, honestly, man, if I gotta go.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
I gotta go pick up my kid, and I would not mind doing a part 2. Call me fucking tomorrow. Call me later. Tomorrow's my birthday. I don't know if I have any birthday plans.
That's my wife's birthday on Thursday. So,
and then you know what? I realized. So this is called BREWtally speaking. Like we didn't even talk about like beer. Like, do you talk about beer with these guys?
So sometimes I do if it makes sense, but a lot of it more is a play on words that a lot of people tell me that I get strangers to open up to me and say things that they probably shouldn't, have like really brutally honest conversations. So it was a play on that, like being at a bar and having a conversation. So it's a play on that.
I like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like, dude, I fucking hate beer.
Yeah,
like, I still hate it. Like I am retired from beer. I can't remember the last time I've actually cracked open a beer and like drank a beer. I mean, straight up, it might have been like Warped Tour 2018 is the last time I actually had a beer, because that was like the only thing around, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't like beer.
I hate it.
Yeah, I straight up hate it. And if the last, like, and if I am doing a beer, it's like a Coors Light.
I almost was going to drink one of the last ETID beers I had, because I still have one sitting in my fridge.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I think we're making check this out. I'm proud of this one. I think we're making one for Blissmas Better Lager.
Ooh.
We are,
right.
yes. We teamed up with Thin Man again.
Okay.
So Better Lagers so they brewed the beer last week. I met with Mike, who works there, just go over some label ideas. But yeah, that batch got brewed. So I do take a sip. You know, I've taken a sip of all those. I fucking hate them, but I've taken a sip. But I mean, if I'm going to sip on a beer, it's definitely a lager.
There you go.
I just don't like how beer makes me feel. You know, like when you drop like a Mentos, like in a 2 liter of soda, that's what I feel like when I drink it. Like literally every time. Like, do people drink beer when they eat? I'm just like, how are you doing this?
I mean,
all right, John, I'll talk to you later.
See you in a couple weeks, man.
All right, man.
No, yeah, if you want to do another, if you got more questions, I'm like, I'll call you.
Okay.
I love it.
Like you opened up a can of worms. It's your own fucking fault. But now it's like, what about Bob? You're not gonna be able to get rid of me. We're doing part 2. We're doing part 3. I'm coming over. I'm sleeping over. I'll see you soon.
Fair enough.
All right, man.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Chat, dude. Yo, send me a text in like 5 minutes.
Bye.
Right on.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Honestly, this has been a great chat, and I can't believe we've been doing this for like 2 hours. So I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.
Cool.
So I guess I'll leave a couple of you specific questions I had.
Okay.
You've been like, and maybe I'll like cut this into like a bonus thing, like a mini thing for the week. You have always kind of intrigued me because it seems like you're a very business savvy person. Like, as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, you own like ATMs and a bunch of other like side hustles that are like your, like, I think you even like do, like, I don't think you're a landlord necessarily other than the house you're in, but like you do a lot of things that I think have made you a very business savvy person. And it always has kind of been interesting that I feel like maybe has parlayed into your success in like the music space too. Cause like you just have an understanding of like finances and like things that need to happen.
Yeah, I don't talk about it much. I don't really talk too much about like what I do outside the band, but
you don't have to if you don't want to either.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I mean, I don't. If you want, I mean, you led with that. So there was a venue in Buffalo called the Waiting Room. Rest in peace. It closed down around like 2017 or something like that. but I had gotten involved in one of my best friends, Chris. He's a promoter, and like he's been doing shows in like the upstate New York area for 25 years. He left Buffalo for a little bit and was working in like New York City doing like arena stuff, but then eventually came back to Buffalo and then opened up a venue, and I got invested in that. So I was kind of like a partner in that for a year-ish, like the last year of it. And the ATM stuff was just, he had 2 levels. We had 2 floors there, and then we had 2 ATM machines. So, I'd just be there during the day, and like you just see a guy come in once a week and fill it up. And I would just be like, dude, what, like, how much, like, what's our cut from that, and what does he get? And I was just like, why don't we just buy 2 ATMs, for the club, and like we just fund it and we just keep the money. So it kind of just started there. And then, and like the more we thought about it, we were just like, well, we know a ton of business. I mean, Buffalo is a city, but it's not a huge city, so like we just know a lot of people just through, networking and just, living there for so long. And we were like, why don't we just contact all our friends that own restaurants, tattoo shops, barber shops, and just be like, hey, who's like your ATM guy? Like, why don't we just do it? So then started with the venue, the waiting room. And then we were just like, let's buy 5 ATMs. So we bought 5 ATMs and just like pitched it to like our friends' businesses. And it just like spiraled from there. And then it just went to, Chris just being like, well, dude, I book a lot of the concerts at like the Outer Harbor or the Inner Harbor in Buffalo. And then it just went to, let's just put them in all these like summer outdoor festivals where like it's just cash only. And we just do our connections. We just like talked our way into them just like ditching their ATM people, like I don't know how savvy you are with like that world, but a lot of people that are in the ATMs are also into like dartboards and like the bubble hockey and like it's just a weird world. It's like a weird subculture, but like generally like older people, it's just like we'll just ditch them, we'll undercut them by like a little bit bucks. And then before you know it, we had like 50 ATMs. I mean, it was just like a straight up full-time job. So I say was because we actually just recently sold it. Yeah, we sold it like right as the pandemic was ending. We just kind of, at the time, like, music was coming back. So I was going back on tour. The other 2 partners I was in it with, they were having kids, and it was just kind of getting a little harder to like maintain. So we ended up selling it, but yeah, I mean, it was a crazy 6 years of kind of grinding through that. And it's an interesting world there. Cause I mean, it's really easy to do. You just have to have the means to do it. I mean, you're basically the bank, right? So it's like you buy the machines, which are like $2,000 each. And then you're just the bank. You fund it, you stuff the machines with money. And then every night it just washes and just goes back into the account. So it's like you're using the same money, but you're gaining all the fees.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, like, then once you start finding the right spots, I mean, we started moving, we started getting all the bars on Allen Street and like getting outdoor ones. Like we're on Elmwood, Allen, all the music festivals. Like we had some like fucking cash only barbershops, fucking strip clubs. I mean, just crazy shit, So a wild world, but I don't know. We came out unscathed. I'd never had a gun pulled on me and ain't stabbed. I mean, it's just, I was the one making most of the bank runs. So like my role in it was basically filling the machine. So, like Chris Ring, he kind of just had a lot of the connects just because he's just, been in that world, just kind of networking. So like he just knew. So like that was kind of his thing, like, get like, most of the spots. And then I would do like a lot of the back end work, like all the bookkeeping, like stuffing all these machines. And I mean, dude, I've just become so desensitized to amounts of money at this point. I mean, dude, just walking into a bank any given time with like a very large amount of money, but, trusting, like I was homeless, so it didn't really look. I mean, not too much different than how I dress every day, but yeah, just looking unassuming, and got out of that without any scars. And yeah, we couple guys approached us for an offer, and we weren't interested right away, and then we said no, and then just they got made an offer we couldn't have refused, and recently sold that, and just kind of on to the next, and then with real estate. Yeah, I bought my first house when I was in my 20s, young. One of the things my grandfather always told me was one of the best investments you can make is property, because it's, that value always goes up in time. So I was always mindful of that. And I don't know, bought my first house when I was like 20, and then I just kind of haven't stopped. Like I just, it's, again, it's just being smart with money, making, smart investments that I've luckily, had the means to do. And yeah, I bought this. Right now I'm in the basement of this house that I own with Jordan and another guy that we kind of just turned into. The basement's just kind of our practice space. We always just kind of dreamed of having like a headquarters for the band, and we bought this house 3 weeks into the pandemic. Dude, yeah, I look at listings every day. Like part of my daily routine, commercial, residential, I look every day. And this house that I'm in now, Jordan and I actually lived in when we were in our early 20s. So his father actually had a business, and him and his uncle actually ran a business out of this house. But then they got too big, and then they moved. So the house is just vacant. It used to be like I don't know what they did, like, I don't know, some computer stuff. I don't know, some applied science. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but yeah. So the house was just empty, but like their business still owned it. So we just kind of like moved in here. Like
squatters' rights.
Yeah, it just became like a huge like dorm room. Like 8 people just lived in like a 5-bedroom house. So, but our bands would practice here. I was in a band called Kid Gorgeous back then. And
that's another question I was going to ask about.
Yeah, and Eat would practice here. So, Last Night in Town and Hot Damn were written literally where I'm sitting right now. So, kind of crazy. And then, then his father and his partners decided in like 2004 they were going to sell the house. So that's, we kind of all had to move out. But this was the first spot like I've ever lived in, like outside of like my parents. Like this is the first like I've moved out of the house. Like I never dormed when I went for college. So this was like my first like freedom spot. So it's always just been kind of like a soft spot, and it went up for foreclosure April of 2020, like literally 3 weeks after the pandemic. And, I was just, I don't know. It's the pandemic. Like it was just a scary time for a lot of people. Everyone dealt with it differently. And I would just looked at it as like an opportunity where it was just like, dude, like, especially the position that, we were in with the band where it's like, we were just never home. We just toured. We were constantly going, barely had time off. And I looked at the pandemic like, dude, I don't know how long this is going to last, but it might be 3 months, it might be 6 months, might be a year, might be 2 years, but I might never have this much free time until I'm fucking retired. Right. Like the way we were moving. So I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's take a run at this. And we put a bid in and we won it. And we're like, holy shit. Well, now we own this house. Like we couldn't look in the inside beforehand. Like it was one of those like foreclosure. Oh, okay. And we walked in and, the house is in rough shape, but I don't know. Luckily, the only things that were open during the pandemic were Home Depots. Like I straight up, I was like, yeah. And I just was just like, it's the pandemic and I literally can't do anything else. And we had the means to do it. And me, Jordan, and a buddy were just like, fuck it. We own this childhood house that like we lived in and like wrote records in, and let's do it. Like, then me and Jordan were just like, dude, this is it. Like the headquarters, like we got it. Like we got all we do. We got a 2-car garage. We can put like all the merch and like the banners and we finally got like the home base. So I spent the entire pandemic here. Like me and a contractor buddy that I knew, it's like first name basis with Home Depot people. Dude, just crazy. And like, I'm just like learning shit that I never knew how to do, like helping with like drywall or fucking, I mean, you name it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just, it kind of became like a little like passion, you know, just to bide some time during the pandemic. And, yeah, I mean, even like to go back even a little bit before that, like, I remember we were overseas and there was something going on, whatever was going on in the world. It might have been that Paris shooting or something. And I don't know, for Ita decided to cancel a bunch of shows. And we were just kind of, me and Andy were sitting in a hotel room. We had like 4 London shows that were sold out and that we bailed on. And I just remember sitting in a room with Andy, and Andy's just like, dude, I got to like, kind of like not have all my eggs in one basket and figure something else out. I remember him talking about wrestling, and that was kind of like him just being like, dude, I think I'm just going to, you know, get home, start training and like try wrestling, you know, for a minute. And I was just like, fuck yeah, you know what? I think I probably should dip into like some other things too. And that was like end of 2015, early 2016. And that's when I started doing the ATMs, and then started like seriously like being like, you know what? I kind of just want to get some property for whatever, you know, maybe like rehab flip or, you know, vacation home, like Airbnb it. And it's just kind of where I'm at now. I'm up to like 5 properties that I have where it's either, you know, it's this where, you know, I got a couple where I Airbnb. I got, you know, another one where I rent out for like a couple. We rent out to like a full-time tenant. One guy's been there for like 12 years now. So, you know, a little bit of side passive income, making money when you're sleeping, just kind of trying to be smart with that. I've always been into numbers too. You know, I was gonna say
that seemed to be another thing is, you know, even listening to you doing like the podcast and stuff like that, like when you would get to talking about gambling and sports, it's like some of the and stats and stuff like that. It's like some of the numbers and the way that you were able to just like, it's almost like the only reference really I think anyone has of a certain age is like you were just kind of like Rain Manning that shit where you're just like, the fuck are you able to just rattle off these numbers and just know these percentages and like stats and shit like that?
Yeah,
but it's like,
yeah.
I was the same, or I am the same way, like with like coming from food and retail management. It's like, give me a budget, give me like different random stats that probably most people would be like, oh, why does this matter? I'm like I just saw a status the other day on Facebook where the first month I took over a deli, like I had the inventory 3 days later, we ran a 32% profit margin. I think we had cleared like $2,000 in profits. And my first full month since then, I had ran a 64% profit margin, and like just like the stupid stat numbers. And I was like, I'm so fucking proud. And I know most people are probably like, who cares? But it's like, those are the kind of things like where I just get like really dumb and into it. I'm like you kind of notice it in other people when you like can hear them talking about it. You're like, oh, you're a numbers dude.
Yeah, I mean, you got to kind of know all that stuff, right? Like your food costs or like, you know, your beverage costs and all that. Man, the podcast, dude, fuck, dude, man. Yeah, Andy, dude, I remember doing those. Like that was like 12 years ago. I feel like we were like a little ahead of the game with those. Like we were just doing like weekly bullshit just because we were just bored, like doing crazy long drives, you know, just to get some, I don't know, other shit out there. And like now I just see like all like these podcasts out there being super successful, and that's
you could have been the 2 Bears 1 Cave.
You know what? I know we do. We fucking missed that.
And then you will kind of work, because there were times like you would have, like I remember the one he did with Ken because you weren't around, so it's almost like the same formula.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. People like were asking if we stopped doing that. They're like, dude, we need the podcast. Like, we bring that back. Just like, holy shit, man. Just funny, but it's just funny what people like latch onto and like to listen to and enjoy. But I just thought it was just crazy rambling. But yeah, back to the numbers. I've always been. I mean, it goes back to like my grandfather. He was always just super into. So like my parents divorced when I was young. So I didn't see too much of my dad past like age like 7. So like I spent a lot of time at like my grandfather's house, and he was super into like coins and stamps. He just had coins. And I'm talking like pennies, and like he would have quarters of the years of like all the grandchildren. But like I just remember like I would help him like roll up the coins. You know what I mean? Like count 50 pennies. There's 50 cents, $10 worth of fucking quarters and like dimes. So like I was super into numbers that way. Like not like math, like
money math,
geometry bullshit and fucking calculus. Like I was into like the math tables, like, you know what I mean? Like multiplication, like that type of numbers. I remember like really young in kindergarten, like, you know, you'd have those parent teacher meetings and like my kindergarten teacher was just like, yo, this kid is like way ahead of other kids at like counting, you know? So I guess I always had that. Always like math, always like numbers. And it's like weirdly soothing to me. Like I enjoy, like I do all of my own taxes. Like I literally do like everything, like band, any business I'm in. Like I do it all and just hand it to my CPA. Like, it just cuts me like a huge discount because like I just literally have it all for him. So yeah, just like really crazy nerd stuff. And like I handwrite it. Like I mean, dude, I have the fucking, I bring the fucking printer paper out. Like, you know, the Jordan, like band guys will still make fun of me. Like it's soothing to me. It's like a therapy for me, you know, just to get into my office and fuck with that every like spring, like tax season. But yeah, I don't know. Always been super into numbers. Sports stuff, gambling, sure. Like I like advanced analytics. I look at it every week. You know, I like to indulge in that a little bit. You know, not too crazy, keep it controlled, but you know, try to find an edge. You only need 55% to win, right?
Dude, I was so close to winning my fantasy yesterday.
Yeah.
I had it.
Yeah,
I was down 34 points. I think when the Buffalo game started, I had a 27% chance of winning. And then that Cortland Sutton touchdown brought me in. Gabe Davis was my other guy. Like, so those are the two players I had in the game. And then after the first quarter, I was like, oh, fuck, I might win this. I might come back and win this fucking game on the last two fucking players. And then both of them from that point forward just kept dropping everything with like that fumble. And then Gabe Davis just couldn't catch anything. He also had some shit ass targets, but I ended up losing by 5 fucking points. And I was like, God damn, don't give me any hope. Like, I'd rather just get blown out than to have any hope.
Yeah, man. It's brutal out there. I retired from the fantasy world because it's like, I'm more into the instant gratification of like the games. I was doing fantasy for like 20. I mean, I started doing fantasy football when I was like 16 in like the late 90s.
On paper?
Well, yeah. I mean,
you had to handwrite it.
It was, you would get the stats from the newspaper, like just straight up. Like we would get the Buffalo News and like look at the box scores and do the stats that way, like crazy. So, been doing this shit for a minute, but I bowed out of the fantasy stuff, and I'll mess around with some individual games. I kind of like the instant gratification at this point, but yeah, man, it's all cool. I respect all that stuff, man. I love it. It's again, it's exciting to me. Just a huge numbers guy, so I fuck with all that shit.
Last question I have for you, because I gotta get ready to go get groceries with the wife.
Yeah.
Kid Gorgeous. A while ago, way long time ago, like when you had just kind of rejoined the band, I thought I had remembered that there was an EP or some new music coming. Whatever came of that?
Yeah, so that was kind of like I was living in California for like a couple years, and then when I came back around like 2010, and a lot of the guys I was in the band with I just kind of wanted to start jamming again. It had been a minute, so we were like, fuck it, let's get together and like write a couple songs. And so an EP did come out, but it's like not on Spotify. I don't know. I haven't checked in a while. Maybe it is. So we did do an EP. I forgot who. Maybe Eulogy put it out. I think we did we did 2 new songs and like redid another one and did a cover. But that kind of was like, that kind of scratched an itch for me, like creatively, to be like, okay, like this is cool. Like who knows where it's going to go. And that kind of like segued into, the dudes kind of calling me back up when, like I think Newton was like leaving You know, he was playing bass in E-Tit at the time. And I was, you know, riffing again and doing stuff with Kid Gorgeous and I don't know, Andy, I forgot who hit me up. But they're like, hey man, like we got this tour with Guar and we don't have a bass player. Do you want to you know, come, you want to jam and like do a tour and like, you know, see what's up. You know, come jam again. And I was just like, okay. So like I just kind of went into it thinking like, all right, I'll try this one tour, see how it is, and then see if I was into it again. And yeah, I don't know. Now here I am, you know, I'm back. So back with I was back with those dudes. And you know, then obviously it was like another decade run there. But yeah, the Kid Gorgeous, we did it. Yeah, the EP's out there. But it's not.
I don't remember that, I guess.
Like,
okay.
I mean, I think I might have checked a year ago and it like wasn't there weirdly. I have no idea. I don't even know where you can get it, to be honest with you. YouTube?
I don't know. It's funny that speaking of that like era of like when you came back, there's like two things somewhat recently. Like two of my best friends and I went to this shot ass festival called SYS Fest that only existed that year and never did again. And you headlined it. And two things I remember from that, it was Leg's first show with you guys. And I think it was sort of like will this work? Let's go play this like random middle of nowhere fucking festival in Michigan and see how this works. Cause I remember it not being like you didn't really promote it. Like the band didn't. And you guys were like the headliner. And it was like the other reason I remember that show so vividly is because King 810 or 810, whatever, like they were just King at that point, fucking threw a PA at the sound dude and then started throwing like a rotting deer carcass at everybody while I was talking to Josh Schroeder like backstage. And I was just like, what the fuck's going on? He's like, oh, it looks like King's getting arrested. I was like, okay, this is weird. Actually, the other reason I'll always remember it because these two things. Oh, I finally did it right. I usually suck at this. There was a tattoo thing, and my best friend and I went and got this one, the two dicks that Jordan drew at the tip jar, because they were like, we should get a tattoo. And we asked Jordan because he's the only person we knew that could draw anything, and he's like, it takes me a while to draw, so this is all I have for you. And I was like, okay. And I remember they were like, I think it was you and Jordan were like, if you really go get that, we'll give you free merch. And we're like, okay. And then Bagel was giving away the other one that replaced it. And he was like, I was like, can I have that? I have the other one. He goes, oh, fuck, you do. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Man.
So now when everyone's in my office, everyone's like, why do you have these fucking dicks on your wall? And I go, funny story.
That all tracks. That sounds about right. Yeah, Bagel. You know, I heard from Bagel earlier today. Like I said, probably like 2 hours and 7 minutes ago. Yeah. We both therapy sessions on the text about the Bills. It's just it's crazy. So, but yeah, Bagel's great.
Great dude. I always get bummed because he never posts the tour he's actually on, and you have to kind of figure it out. And then I'm always like, you're a dick. Like, why don't you want people to come see you?
Yeah. He hit me up like I think we might have been in England like in October, but he's like, yo, I'm in Buffalo. I don't know if he's sleeping with Siren. I have no idea who he was with, but
yeah.
He's like, dude, I need Bills gear. We're going to the Bills game. I'm like, dude. I'm like, where you staying? I'm like, dude, walk 3 blocks this way. My cousin Vintage, you're going to find like a treasure trove of awesome shit. So, yeah, he'll just randomly, yeah, exactly like you say, no idea where he is, who he's with. Just randomly, yo, you in Buffalo? I'm here today. You want to get lunch? I'm like, dude, I'm in like London, you know, crazy. But yeah.
I think that's been like the crazy thing of like just befriending so many people in the touring industry. Like, it's funny you said Portland. I ended up doing a podcast channel many years ago with Head from Korn. We ended up, he said, if you're ever around or whatever, come hang out at a show. Long story short, we go to Indiana to go see him play. My wife and I, there's a whole fucking ordeal with the tickets. And then we get escorted through their TM to backstage. And Brian's like, hey, you're so-and-so from Portland, right? And I was like, nope. So now this is the second time someone's like, you're the guy from Portland, right? And I'm like, no, but apparently I need to figure out who this person is that I look like.
Dude, I'm just way off on that, but yeah. But you gotta, yeah.
But it's funny because the one time I went to, or not the one time, but the first time I ever went to Portland, I opened Facebook like once we got to our friend's house, and I see a friend of mine is touring with Helmet. No, I'm sorry, not Helmet. God, what the fuck is that band with doesn't matter. Touring with somebody, and I sent him a text. I was like, "Hey, do you have a late bus call? I just got to Portland. Like, let's hang out." And he goes, you just want to come to the venue? And I was like, well, it's me, my wife, and 2 other friends that we're staying with. And he was just like, I didn't ask how many people you were this. I said, do you want to come hang out? So I was like, oh, it's Prong. And I was like, yeah, let's. And I go, does everyone want to go see Prong? Everyone just is like, how the fuck do you know someone here? You've never been here. And I go, it's kind of like in Atlanta the first time I came out of the Elmere bar and I ran into Stevis, like literally as he was on a run. And then my wife's like, how do you run into people and know people? And I was like, how do you not?
Dude, it's funny you mentioned Stevis. I'm going to end it with this because I know we kind of started with just like a bunch of just Buffalo nonsense.
Yeah.
So when Stevis was in Buffalo, he might have came from one of the holiday shows, like, I don't know, 2016. And he stayed for the weekend. He actually stayed at my house. And I took him to Gabriel's Gate, and he didn't like the wings.
What?
He didn't like them. He said they were just, I mean, mid wasn't a term at the time, but they were mid. They were mid to him. He said he's had like way better wings in Atlanta than Gabriel's Gate. You know, they weren't doing it for him. I'm just saying, man.
I mean, to be fair though, like Atlanta, you know, lemon pepper wet, like they have their own wing thing.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, man. Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's got a different vibe of what's a good wing, what's not. But I specifically took him there because he wanted like the best chicken wings and experience. And I'm like, well, I like Gabriel's Gate. I'll take you here. And he didn't like them. So I don't know, man.
For shame.
Take that for what it is. So Stevis, he's got hate for Gabe's Gate, guys. I hate to break it to you. If you're a big Gabe's Gate fan, hit up Stevis, hit him in the DMs. Be like, dude, come on, man. Like, what, dude? This is the spot, man. Why do you hate it? But yeah, man, I'll leave it at that. But I'm glad it, like, that's my to tie in the Buffalo food wing thing. Stevis hates Gabe's Gate, guys. So.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I know I probably have punished you guys over the years of trying to do this. But as I sort of made a tweet today that today and then tomorrow with the person I'm going to be talking to that I've also been trying to get on the show for many years, firm believer in things are meant to happen when they're supposed to. And I think as a result, they're usually better than they would have been if you tried forcing it to happen at another point in time. So thank you again. Very much looking forward to ripping a drink that's not a beer. Possibly at the Pink. I know you said you don't go there very much anymore, but I know that is where I will be every single day in my time in Buffalo and probably Mulligan's. Yeah,
I think I'll probably come out of Pink retirement for that weekend because it's I know a lot of people look forward to going there, and it is a fucking awesome bar. So I'm sure I'll break retirement for that. But yeah, thanks for the opportunity. It was a cool chat. I don't really get to do these too often. I don't do them too much, so. Appreciate the opportunity, man. I had a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
See you next month, bud.
So that was my conversation with Mitch and Jordan, again, of Better Lovers. I want to thank them so much for taking the time, especially Jordan, since he wasn't on a part of the call. But that was kind of interesting. I didn't know that if you weren't a part of, like, if I didn't invite you into the room, quote unquote, I didn't know you could still hear everything. So that's really interesting to know. And it would have been really rad. I really wish that Jordan could have came in with some of those jokes because it would have been really funny. But I like I said in the intro, and I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm being down or anything. But this was a really big one for me personally. It's crazy, and I talk about this all the time about things kind of happening when I think they're supposed to, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't have loved the opportunity to talk to these guys earlier in the show's existence, but I think this was better. I think, and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to talk to Jordan one-on-one and kind of dealing more with some of the questions I have about sort of therapy and taking different psychedelics and so forth, and just kind of exploring more of a more cerebral side of yourself, kind of actually getting out of yourself to work on yourself to be a better you moving forward. And that is something I've been really working on personally. It's something I've been exploring a lot more. So to have someone I think that is on the same path sort of in life, as well as also kind of taking it further than I have at this point currently. I think it would just be really interesting to kind of pick his brain and learn more about those things and those experiences that have led him where he is now. And with Mitch, I mean, it's crazy that in this day and age to think about how there are people who, put so much of themselves out there, especially when you're an entertainer, but you don't really know a whole lot about. And something I used to really love about the ETID podcasts that him and Andy used to do is, he would tell some stories more about himself or something that he was doing. And I think I remember him a lot just being like, oh, this is mundane bullshit. No one gives a fuck. But it was just like, there's not really much out about you because you don't really share a whole lot about you. So I would love to know more about who you are, because I feel like, obviously you are a part of this thing that means a lot to me. So I would like to know more about it and how maybe whoever you are as a person inspires, dictates, correlates things that the rest of the people do to make this thing. I guess essentially kind of being a conduit of sorts. So it's a thing where I very much am appreciative of this. And I think, like I said, if I would have done this earlier in the show's existence, I don't know if it would have been as good. And some of you listening might be like, you know what, this wasn't good. And that's fine. Maybe this will be a thing where you start your podcast journey or your creative journey, whatever it is, because maybe you felt the same way that I started to when I started this podcast. But I also hope maybe hearing this, if it doesn't make you mad to then inspire you to do something, let this be kind of an example maybe of pushing yourself to do something that you've always wanted to, but maybe you're afraid to for whatever reason. You never know. You never know what could happen. And the answer is always going to be no if you never ask and you don't start. If you would have told me 8 years ago that, this would be happening, or I get to talk to half of the people I've gotten to, like today, for a great example, I got an email about the new Ace Frehley record, and I'm thinking about trying to get him on. If you would have told me when I was in high school going to see the one of the farewell tours that clearly was not the farewell tour, I'd get to talk to this person that's a part of my dad's childhood, the thing that made him want to be a musician, and that potentially I get to talk to this person. Like, can't even wrap your head around that sometimes. So I guess all in all, don't be afraid to kind of chase whatever. And it really doesn't matter at what point in your life, man. Like if you have something you want to do, just fucking go after it. That's all I can say. I'm going to start wrapping this up. I know this has kind of been more of a more serious intro, outro. But I feel like I said, I had tried recording the intro a handful of times, and it just never came out the way I wanted it to. I think I was obviously overthinking it, and instead I just really wanted to say something that felt exactly how I feel in the moment. It's a little long-winded. That happens. That's life. But I can say now that I'm a week away, I'm so excited to go to Buffalo. I'm so excited to go to places that my wife and I love going to, just the two of us. Also, I'm sure with a bunch of people that I'll probably end up recognizing as well. To be in a room with a bunch of people who I've been probably going to see this band and these members for a while, and who knows where from. I mean, I'm sure some of these people might have been at some of the Warped Tours I've been to, might have been at obviously some of the TID seasons, and I'm just looking forward to it. There's a lot to be grateful for and optimistic about. So I'm going to start wrapping up this episode because I know this has been a long one between the chat, between the intro and all that. So if you are still listening, thank you so much. If this is your first time listening to the show, hopefully you enjoy it. There's 400 and something other episodes in the back catalog. Go through and check it out. I actually just got a DM, actually an Instagram story someone had shared about how basically they had found the podcast through one person, guest sharing it, and then have been going through the back catalog. And, it's something I talk about all the time where I'm like, I'm not paying for ads. I'm not paying for people who don't give a shit about the show and will never listen just for the sake of having a like or a follower. And I go, my goal is, and my hope is, someone will find the show organically and then go, holy shit, they had whoever else, and then just realize that there's 300, 400 other episodes that they get to listen to. I know I do that as a listener and an enjoyer of music and podcasts and those things, and that's always kind of the nice thing about these things. You know, I talk all the time about, with friends, talking about music, that there's always... the music will always be there. The thing will always be there. It just will find you when you need it and when you are supposed to find it. And that's the beautiful thing about all these things. So without further ado, let's start wrapping up this episode. If you would like to keep up with Better Lovers, simple enough, you can go to godmademeananimal.com. That is kind of the landing page for everything the band has going on. If you would like to find them on Facebook, though, they do have a Facebook page. As I said in the episode with Will last week, it doesn't have like facebook.com/betterlovers. It's just like profile and a bunch of numbers and all that kind of stuff. So just go to Facebook, type in Better Lovers, they'll pop up. If you'd like to keep up with them on Instagram, it's Better Lovers Band, and Twitter at Better Lovers. If you would like to keep up with Mitch, you can find him on Instagram at Mitch Behaven, as well as Twitter. And Jordan can be found on Instagram at Jordan from Buffalo and Twitter at Jordan Buckley. I was actually trying to see if Jordan's art website was still up. Previously, it was under jbww.com. It doesn't look like it's under that. That literally takes you to the Better Lovers stuff. So it seems like that's kind of the focus right now. I do know Jordan made a comment a while back, I think on Instagram, about how he wasn't really going to be doing art stuff anymore and that Better Lovers was going to take up the most of his creative focus. So it does kind of seem like that is a thing. However, obviously he's still doing things like the Blissmas poster and some other things. So maybe that'll be something that happens and gets relaunched down the road once he kind of has a better handle on everything. If you would like to keep up with me and the podcast, is simple enough. Go to Brew Speak Pod on all your social media platforms. There will be there. If I'm not on one of them, it's probably because it's new and I'm just too old to keep up with all that shit. As I get older, I just feel like I sound like Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon. And if you would like to support our sponsors, it would mean a lot to us, to them. Go over to rockabilly.com. They have so many items. They are working and doing so many great collaborations with so many bands. I actually just got my Atreyu Halloween hoodie. The thing is awesome. Shout out to Frankie and all them for hooking me up with that. Use our code BREWtally at checkout and you can get 10% off. The holidays are right around the corner, so save some money wherever you can. Get something for yourself, pick up an item for a loved one. And Starving Artist Brewery, can't say enough great things about them. Love all their beer that I've gotten to have. They're brewing some more goodies right now and doing a lot of great stuff. And honestly, as I say, judge beer, not people, is their slogan. And I think it is a great one that we can all probably get behind. So until next week, I will talk to you all then. Enjoy the rest of your week, and hopefully really enjoy this episode as much as I did. And I will see you all next week, where my guest is Garrett from Silent Planet. That was a really great conversation. I can't wait to share that one with you. Come back next week, and I'll talk to you all then.